3 wide. We look up to the flag stand. It's going to be your Morecast white flag. It's one more lap to go as Danny Cochran, Vincent Sora, and Jesse Thodak are your top 3 into turn 1.
Who's gonna make it back here to take the checker flag? It's gonna be anybody's game. It was a dead heat almost across the line last time. It was only 0.02 of a second separating our top 3. Let's see what it is this last time as they go down the back straight for the final time here tonight.
Vincent Sora going to be having help, currently leading the charge in the middle groove. Danny Cochran going to be on the inside. Another big surge on the middle groove, but here comes Jesse Thordock. Shelly's going to bump Cody Reed on the outside wall. Ryan Kelly's got to get to linked up with the 14. Bad bump for the 14. Vincent Sora, Danny Cochran, they look good. Who's going to drive down to the apron? Vincent Sora blocks once, he blocks twice. They're still wiggling back and forth, but it's Vincent Sora winning the Daytona 250 here tonight as it's Calamity. It's Carnage. It's the big one across the line. Versal, top 8, they're on the old tires. Everyone else, 4 tires except for Chris Stitz. He took 2. Jones Paint and Designs 140 is back underway. A lot of wheel spin further on back, but here we go. Oh no, it's going to be seen. Noah Steele, that's Travis. It's going to be Downing trying to hold steady as they're faltering backwards. Up front, great launch for also going to be Larry Yingling and Cody Reed, but your trouble is Danny Cochran's the one that blitzed on through. The 0-2 is on the charge, and he's the first one with fresh tires.
And he's going to quickly catch up to Larry Yingling. What's he going to do? He's going to split the middle here, but Yingling's going to slide up the track. He's going to have the lift.
He's blocking him. Oh, they're forcing the outside. Down to the inside. Cochran's wrecking right in front of Kelly. Oh no. Jared Tolbert breaks through. The big one. Everyone's piling in. Oh, the madness. Oh no. And everyone's in it. The only ones that made it through was our top 4. Everyone else got a clip of this one. With 3 to go, this is it. Crown a champion. Our first attempt at overtime. Who's taking it here at the end? If we get a yellow on lap 1, we head to overtime attempt number 2. But let's see if we can keep it clean and green. Already going to be seeing drivers going to be side by side, 3 wide deeper in the field. Up front's going to be seeing Jared Talmadge, Vincent Sora, and Talmadge is getting pushed by Thomas Green. Green is forcing the 27 to the lead position. Here we go, Zach, out of 2.
That was huge for Talmadge because Vincent Sora got the restart of his life, stayed side by side, but the 3's push is what propelled him to the lead. But now the 3 looking to the inside. He wants that 3rd victory, and we're going to see some fireworks here, guys.
Christopher Norris going to be back in 9th place, but up front, it's going to be Jared Talmadge looking up to the flag stand. It's your one more lap to go from Morecast, and it's all spreading up to the outside. Yingling's out of this. It's Vincent Sora's championship to grab, but Christopher Norris is back in 7th place. Off the exit of turn number 2, Jared Talmadge. Do you have everything, or will Christopher Norris find some type of wicked speed? Right now, it looks like the 38 is nowhere to be found. Jared Talmadge fought, clawed, and will win here at Vegas. The wrecking behind, but Vincent Sora, take your championship. You're back hoisting the crown. The 15 is your Trinity Racing League Season 1 champion. Before we get to the racing action of the Trinity Racing League Season 3, let's say thank you to some of the amazing sponsors. First and foremost, the title sponsor of Larry Arts Production. We also want to say thank you to SimSam, Blazing Fast TV, Premier Racing Setups, Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios, and finally, Team Watson Racing Setups. Thank you so much for all the sponsors. Now let's get to the racing action. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Monday night. Tonight, we give you the coverage of the Trinity Racing League, race number 6 on the schedule of Season 3. And it's been an eventful season so far. A couple of hurt feelings after last week's race gives 9 total drivers penalties that will be served at some point here tonight. And with that, we also enter Las Vegas. Las Vegas at Monday nights is a track and night combo that has notoriously been known here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting to have a little bit of drama, a little bit of flair, and it's a night you do not want to miss. This track, the last 2 seasons, has been the season finale, but could tonight be a race to not forget? It should be a good one overall here this evening. Again, it's race 6 of the schedule as we will be giving you the coverage this evening on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. And Zach, certainly should be a night of fun, especially in the fact that it's Las Vegas. This track always provides great racing.
It really does. I love this place personally. One of my favorite tracks to just spectate, man. It's a place where you can really, as a driver, kind of feel it out and find your own way. And what I mean by that is there's plenty of options, availabilities on the lanes, and there'll be a lot of drivers using almost every single part of this track. So I'm excited when we get the green flag to drop and see exactly how everybody's going to finally attack this track, because it's a little warm and it's under the sun, so it's always a little bit better, I think, in this condition.
Drivers are nervous, but we're excited for it. It's time for tonight's 6th race of the season of the Trinity Racing League for Season 3 of the Pav Attack 250 from Las Vegas. Don't want to miss it, ladies and gentlemen. Should be a good one. What makes it even better, 42 drivers are registered, and we'll see if all 42 hit the track. There's a couple of drivers that are having connection issues, and a couple of drivers, I'm curious if admins are going to let them through. We'll see how things go. But tonight, drivers are finishing up practice. We're about to get to racing action with qualifying, where the first bonus points are going to be awarded. But as we're about to be entering into qualifying, I do want to say thank you to some of the primary sponsors of the Trinity Racing League for Season 3. I want to say thank you to Larry Arts Production, Blazing Fast TV, SimSam, Premier Racing Setups, Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios, and finally Team Watson Racing Setups for partnering up for the Trinity Racing League for Season 3. As all drivers are on track, getting their last bits of runs in. Practice officially is over. Michael Miller, Gavin Rogers, Thomas Green, Joshua Stovall, and Clayton Montgomery going to be your Fast 5 entering into qualifying. We'll see if those laps, with having a little bit of help with the draft, is going to translate over here to qualifying. Zach, I got a feeling we're not going to see as fast as laps as we just saw for practice, but certainly I'm curious on what conditions these drivers are going to be able to handle without that little bit of draft help that they had throughout the corners.
That's true. It could, that draft can play a huge factor. What I'm interested in is I gotta kind of check out the ruling here for this, folks. But I believe at least we've done this before here previously at Trinity, is where we clean the track off here for qualifying. So I will say, with the track being a little bit cleaner, but I will say I do see a little rubber line kind of already down. So I don't. They might not do it this week. Maybe they took it down a notch. But like I said, if it did clean it, it's gonna be much faster than what it was previously. So we'll see what the times are like. But first few drivers are starting to explore it, as it's the 09 Presley Sawyer pulling off the pit road.
Presley Sawyer does take off, and yes, can confirm it is 100% where is cleared. So track is 100% ready to go as Presley Sawyer and a few other drivers get ready to tackle for their first lap in qualifying. Track temp 114 degrees for this first running. Again, all drivers given 2 laps to put down their fastest time and 5 minutes to do so. And some of the drivers might feel like they want to wait just a little bit longer. Hope maybe cloud coverage will hit to cool off this track just 1 degree. That could be the make or break difference of getting the pole or missing out on that bonus point. As Presley Sawyer been having a couple of rough races to start out this season, but the 09 hoping tonight could change that momentum to try to push for the chase. And here tonight, lap 1, clocking in for a few drivers. Vincent Sawyer going to be top of the board as Presley crosses the line. The 09 going to be third fastest, a 30.618. for the 09. There's certainly a lot of pace still left underneath him as he's sending it for everything in the middle of the corner.
He is. He had a great first lap there. We'll see if he can show some pickup. And we've already seen Vince Sor pick 4 tickets from his practice session to his lap there. We'll see if there's any pickup on the second, but he actually aborts it. So maybe the first laps are where it's at. Presley Sor, though, coming around for a second. Let's see if there's any pickup here in this car. And it's just a slight pickup for him.
A slight pickup, good enough to still hold for third place. Vincent Sora has found his way into holding that pole position. His second lap, hoping that it's going to be good enough to stay there, but it looks like it's going to be a 1 lap, and that's all for the 15 machine. A 30.454. See Larry Yingling trying to get a little bit of extra heat in the tires as the 67 gets rolling on track. Other fast drivers, Thomas Walter with sneaky speed, the 30.637. It's it's 0.187. It's going to be tenths off of our leader, Vincent Sora. With 2 minutes left in qualifying, there's still some speed to be found. And also, Zach, looking at the track temp, it has cooled off 1 degree. So some of those drivers that are waiting for the late approach, they have a better chance here for that pole time.
And it will be a factor as Gavin Rogers jumps up to the second spot on the board. And yeah, that is huge right there. At 1 degree, you brought it up, Sam, in the pre-start of this qualifying session. I think this could be a factor. We'll see if anybody shows the pickup as we're watching Larry Yingling. We know he's known to qualify well. We'll see if he can show any quick time here on the first lap.
Still waiting for Montgomery, Elwood, Yingling, Talmadge, Hunter. Also going to see Boucher and Kelly. Some of those last drivers put down a time for themselves as Gavin Rogers still second fastest, but it's Vincent Sora top of the board. Can anyone stop him? Not going to be Larry Yingling. That's 1/100th off the time of the pole as Jared Talmadge going to be lining up for third fastest. Now across the line is going to be the 9 of Alan Elwood. Is that a fast lap for himself? Excuse me, that's actually going to be the first lap starting for Elwood with 1 minute and 8 seconds left in qualifying.
After last performance at Michigan, he is looking to come off some big momentum. He's the points leader. Let's see what this points leader can do. 3 and 4 looks very tight. He got right to the white line. I'm expecting a pretty good lap here from him.
Hoping that this will be the lap that sets him above the rest. Alan Elwood, 2 wins this season. Same for Jarrett Talmadge. And that's fast enough for the pole. The 9 machine, a 30.405 for Alan Elwood. That's almost 5/100ths faster than Vincent Sora. The last couple of runners out on track, they are finishing up their times. No one else has enough time to put down a fast lap. It's the 9 who will take it all. Pole for Alan Elwood. Another fantastic start. And honestly, I think for most of the field, this has got to be a nerve-wracking feeling because Alan Elwood is showing dominance here early on in Season 3.
He really is, Sam. This is so impressive from him. He is, just been out of the world so far, and it's been a great sign to see here us because, man, it's put some great competition for everybody to chase, and Elwood will lead us to the green flag.
As that will finish up qualifying and practice, we're going to head into a 5-minute warm-up period. We'll allow these drivers to have just 5 minutes to get last practice in or anything else they need to do before the race. This also gives us a little bit of time to closer look at how the season's been so far. Again, 5 races have been completed, and here's your point standings entering in. It's Alan Elwood, top of the board with his 2 wins, with Jared Talmadge. His 2 wins going to be in second place in points. The cutoff line, it's that 16th to 17th position on the right side. Gavin Rogers. Shocking name to say that he's at the cut line, but that's who's there. With Presley Sora just looking out. Nick Crawford, Christopher Norris, Mark Morales. Zach, there's some names that are shockingly out of the top 16, but you look at the names that are in the top 16, there's no one really you could pick and say you shouldn't be there either.
That's for sure. It's going to be tough. I look, you read the guys right below that cut line. Look at Vincent Sora. He is a past champion, and back in 28, this guy is going to need a big night here at Las Vegas if he wants to go through. But the thing is, like you said, it's so stacked when it comes to the 16 drivers already in there, and there's a couple of drivers outside the line that you think would be in there normally. It is a high competition this season here at Trinity.
As that's your schedule so far, your standings so far. Over to our schedule, and take a look at how the field is running this evening. Again, 5 races have been finished out so far, and last week's winner being at Michigan, Alan Elwood, trying to carry on that speed into tonight at Las Vegas. But the next couple of races on the schedule going to be Richmond, Chicagoland, the Milwaukee Mile before we head to Spa for some international road course racing, which will finish out our top 10 races so far on the schedule. We do have the chase later on in the season. That's down after Rockingham is when the chase begins after race 13. But Zach, the next couple of races up in front of us, certainly a lot more traditional on the racetracks that we have until we get to Spa, but we got some short tracks that these drivers got to worry about with Richmond and the Milwaukee Mile just in front of us.
No doubt. I mean, we saw Bristol, but that's a high-bank short track this season, so it doesn't really equate to these flat short tracks that are coming up, and I'm really excited to see how they tackle them in this Xfinity car. It's going to be really, really fun there, and then, of course, like you said, Spa, and then kind of back to more of a normal pace. So great schedule. And I think the first start of the season we were worried about, it's kind of got through the turbulent part. I think now it's going to calm down a little bit and get to more of a consistent route.
Yes, that will be our schedule. And with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in our warm-ups, this is our usual time that we have our pick'ems, who are drivers that we feel like are those to watch out for here this evening. And I think I'm going to go with one that's kind of an easy take a shot at. I'm going to go with the 3 machine of Thomas Green, driver who finished second here last season as he found his way to becoming a champion for season 2. And honestly, one of my favorites, I think, to watch out for. The only problem, Thomas has got a hill to climb. He's one of 5 drivers with a drive-through penalty to start this race off. We'll see how he can recover from that moment as we move forward.
Definitely a great pick there. We'll see how he recovers, Sam, but I'm going to go with the driver who needs to recover the most in points, probably Vincent Soren in the 15. You know, qualified second here. I talked to him a little bit before the race. He's feeling good. So I was like, you know what? You see if he turns it around tonight, because he's been caught up in a lot of other people's mistakes. He's going to want to try to get out front and lead from the start.
Not a bad driver to pick either. He finished second here in season 1 when he grabbed the championship. We'll see if he can find his way into victory lane after missing out. And then we got our third member of our crew. That's Robert Moyer Jr., and he's picking with the hot hand, Alan Elwood, who's got 2 wins so far this season. Let's see if we can grab number 3, or could that be Jarrett Talmadge? But Zach, we're here at Las Vegas. There is a lot of aspects to watch out for, but what are some of your key moments and things for us to watch out for here tonight?
Well, I think number 1 here is you're going to have to search for clean air, because there's so many options available to you. And also, this Xfinity car, it does suffer from following behind someone. So if you can find a lane, navigate just a lane higher or just half a nose lower, it'll really help you when it comes to getting those passes done and being quick around your competition. And it's going to be key, because you're going to have to make some passes at some point. Second on the list, save your tires. The fall off is tremendous. I've really been watching throughout a lot of the session, seen some guys do upper of 25, almost 30 lap runs. It was a huge amount of fall off, so you're going to want to keep those Goodyear tires underneath you, and maybe we'll see some big comers and goers as the night goes along. And then last but not least, the third one here at Las Vegas, you always got to be able to do. This track is bumpy. It's got a ton of character, but you got to navigate those bumps. I think the driver that can get over the bumps the best in 1 and 2 will be the driver that is the best throughout the night.
And another thing of note to watch out for, extra horsepower, as all 1.5-mile tracks up to 2-mile courses besides Daytona and Talladega will have, and road courses have, an extra 10% horsepower increase. We've already seen that influence last week's race in Michigan. Let's see how it may influence here tonight. For the Pav Attack 225 from Las Vegas, 150 laps in total. And let's see where your Blazing Fast TV starting results have these drivers up front, because our Blazing Fast TV Pulsar Award winner will be Alan Elwood in the 9 machine. Vincent Soren to the outside. Third place, we find the 67 of Larry Yingling, with Jarrett Talmadge taking 4th place. Gavin Rogers finds himself in 5th position with Chris Stitz in row number 3. 7th is the 09 of Presley Sora, with Joshua Stovall in 8th. 9th, we find the 7 of Cedric Hunter, and finishing out our top 10, it's the 99 of Michael Miller. Starting
in 11th, it's going to be the 13 of Ryan Kelly. In 12th, it's going to be the 49 of Ryan Bird. Thomas Walter's going to start in 13th. The 03 of Clinton Cox going to start in 14th. 15 is going to go to the 16 of Joshua Kanata. And returning back this week, the number 1 of Clayton Montgomery here in the 16th position. 17 is going to go to the 01 of Aaron Kralik. Cody Reed is going to start in 18th. Alex Fuller is going to start in 19th. And rounding out our top 20 is Nolan Hicks.
Sim Sam himself, Samuel S. Garcia, will be taking 21st position in the 50. In 22nd position, we find the 00 of Ethan Smith. Nicholas Renner in the 18 will be back in 23rd, with 24th being Richard Wolsifer. In 25th position, with the 91 of Martin G. Morales. 26th, we find Matthew Pavlik, the sponsor of the Pav Attack 225. Then in 27th, the 88 of Stephen Clapp, with Joshua O'Brien in the 48. In 28th, with Joshua Sawyer in the 19 and 29th, and finish our top 30. It's the 39 of Zachary Wake.
Starting in 31st, it's going to be the 23 of Ryan Boucher. 32nd, it's going to be the 10 of Chris Stamper. 33rd is going to be the 14 of Jesse Thornock. In 34th, it's going to be the 81 of Austin Halsey. Ali Fonseca going to start all the way back here in 35th. In 36, it's going to be the 42 of Mark Labertone. Of course, Sam's pick here, in defending series champion here. Starting in 37th, it'll be Thomas Green. He's got a drive-through, like we said, of one of those other 5 drivers. 38th is going to go to Dalton Hayes. 39th is Danny Cochran. He also has a drive-through. Ethan Delaire is going to be in 40th. 41st is going to go to Tanner G. Johnson. And rounding our 42 cars here tonight is Trevor Benz.
9 penalties were given out after last week's running at Michigan, and here's the rundown of them. The 91 of Mark Morales was given an L1. Same for Matthew Pavlik and Eddie Donahue, as well as going to be seeing Joshua Sawyer and going to be Malik Kuntz. They're going to be finding themselves starting with an EOL. Eddie Donahue, Pavlik, and Mark Morales have drive-throughs. Also, Dalton Hayes going to have an end-of-the-line penalty to start out here this evening. Here's the L2s. It's end-of-the-line penalties, drive-throughs, and a docking of 15 points. Going to be seeing Jackson Anderson, Thomas Green, and Danny Cochran after moments that happened after the race, during the race, no-nos they were not supposed to do. Jackson Anderson leaving the server and the league. See if we see Anderson back, but a lot of drivers heading to the back of the line. So the drama's already filled up. What does Las Vegas have anything left to give the Trinity Racing League at the halfway point of the regular season? Tonight, 150 laps, no fast repair, 4 sets of tires in pit road, and 10% extra horsepower for the field to take it off and launch with. 42 drivers at the ready as we are green for the Pav Attack 225 from Las Vegas. What drama is here? Will it stay in Vegas? Let's find out as Elwood, Sora, and the rest of the field roar down into turn number 1.
That was an excellent start for Vincent Sora on the outside. He timed the green well there and was able to stay alongside Elwood as they will be side by side down the back straightaways. Gavin Rogers, for a moment, he will make it through line down the back straightaways.
They're 3 wide, they're 4 wide, they're madness in the middle of the field, and the multiple drivers over the radio saying pitting in. Again, 5 drivers have to serve a drive-through penalty. That's Sawyer, Morales, Cochran, Pavlik, and Green that are all in the back that head into pit road together. But up front, it's Elwood and Sora still fighting back and forth, and it's the 9 that's going to find himself taking the full lead, trying to hold back this 15. But Zach, you touched on the fact of tire wear. You're already seeing it on lap 1 and 2. How much tire wear are you willing to utilize in the early going that will hurt you later on?
That is going to be the huge question. And then, you know, the big thing is you don't want to give up track position, though, because any track position you give up here, you're going to have to use tire to get back up to this front. So it's really a mind game right now between a lot of these drivers of saving tire versus holding track position versus gaining track position. As you see, I think the 67 Larry Yingling, he thought for a moment to go to the outside of Chris Stitz there, his teammate, but ducks back in line for the time being as Alan Elwood starting to open up about a 0.4 of a second gap is right in front of him. He's going to have a little traffic now too because there's cars that have just served their penalties.
Serving their penalties and now going to be getting in line. Morales, Pavlik going to be the first 2 drivers, 1 lap down. Danny Cochran able to stay ahead of the leaders. Thomas Green, I'm looking at how he decided to enter into pit road. And Zach, I think it worked out the best for him. He stayed with the lead pack, tried to go full speed, but it backfires. The 3 will go 1 lap down. Currently the leader of those that have gone 1 lap down. That extra lap is staying out. Actually backfires for the 3 machine.
It did definitely backfire for him. And, you know, he wasn't one of the drivers that was kind of last in the field, so he was kind of in a tough position to where he couldn't pull off the track. There was a few other drivers behind him that he would have gave himself a penalty to if he came down. So I think he kind of held out on that as Cochran was near that back end of the field. He comes down, and smart call because he stays ahead of that grouping. As you can see, this wildness is Fonseca making the climb back through in the 24. He's going to the outside here down the back straightaway.
It is honestly from 19th on back. It is just side by side, 2 wide, 3 wide, and the lead driver being Alex Fuller has seen a big slide as Morales 1 lap down, getting falling back almost 4 wide for a quick moment. That really hurts the 00 of Ethan Smith. I was trying to work on the outside groove, but caught with the 91, drifting backwards. And you can already see the comfortability of the 91 compared to the rest of the field. It's already at full bore. And oh boy, a big squeeze from the 18 to the 00.
That was huge. The 88 was right there in between that all, and the 00 Smith got up into the wall, and next thing you know, he is caught out. So that just shows you how quick things can happen. Sorry, that was the 30 of Pavlik as he drops to the rear of the field in 40 seconds. So this race has been intense already, Sam.
It certainly has, as it would be a little bit unwarranted to see some of these drivers in the way they would accidentally make contact with one another. As you're seeing Joshua O'Brien in the 48 trying to make his way forward. This is back in 27th position. Up front, they're just taking it easy. Everyone's single filed out pretty quickly. It's everyone in the mid-pack on back that has really been giving us some of the best racing action on course, with Chris Stamper in the 10 machine still trying to fight to get around the 24 of Ali Fonseca.
Well, I'll tell you, I think if we keep our camera located on the 24, that's where you're going to see the most action. He is taking no prisoners out on this racetrack. He might not be making a lot of friends with the moves he's made so far, but man, he is going out there and trying to put on a show for us.
And I was watching practice and listening in with some of the drivers. This was Ollie's game plan, was to figure out how do I work through traffic utilizing my tires, and then hope that by the time that pit stops come around, that he's so far up ahead that when everyone else decides to pit, he's still in the picture of drivers in the fight for that lead position. Right now, the 24 utilizing every bit of grip that's underneath him as he goes for another pass on the outside, trying to crack into the top 20, able to do so with the pass by Richard Wolsifer.
Oh, he loved the side of that. Wolsifer gets loose, opens up the outside line as he's going to go right around him, and now put Fonseca up to 19th. He's got some clear track now to try to run down Aaron Kralik up ahead of him.
I talked also to that group when they were still trying to figure out, driving through the pack, the dirty air, and how's it influencing. I asked what was the fuel numbers that they were expecting. Some were saying 55 to 57 laps on fuel based off of your saving, compared to if you were being super aggressive. And Zach, I'm curious on your thoughts. Is this going to be a fuel race or a tire race to watch out for?
I think it's going to be more tire strategy and how you want to play out and stretch these runs. So I don't think you'll see a 3-stopper be available unless we get some yellows, of course, and then, that adds in a twist to strategy itself. But if we stay green at this point, I think you will see a 2-stop strategy implemented. But the question is going to be, do you, on that first stop of the race, do you want to stop a little bit early? Because this is going to be when the tires wear the most. This is the cleanest the track's going to be all day long. The track doesn't have a lot of rubber on it. It's going to be more abrasive to those tires. But if we wait till later in the day, get to this end of this run here, we pit maybe a little bit earlier than maybe what we would on the next run, you might see better results from an undercut in this very first run, just due to how the track's going to change a little bit. As we watch right here, Cedric Hunter trying to make the pass on Clint Cox, but it's Cox going around the outside.
Clint Cox, one of the bigger movers inside of the top 10 at 4 positions from where he started. Cedric Hunter, on the other hand, has lost 2 spots, so trying to do a little bit of a give up and hope that you gain some of those spots back. Here's more of the racing action inside of the top 10. As you're seeing drivers kind of starting to squeeze in, as Joshua Stovall in the mix, Presley Soar. Zach, these are a lot of guys last week that were mired back in 15th, 20th position, just not able to make big moves at Michigan, qualifying inside of the top 10 and trying to stay there for the best of the game.
That they are, and that's going to be critical. A lot of these guys are in not the greatest point situation, so they need to start getting some good finishes for themselves. As you see Yingling here, he's gotten passed up by the 77 of Stovall on the outside now. Michael Miller looks to do the same. As look at Clint Cox in the background. He went around Cedric Hunter. Now he's looking to go around Presley Sora. So 14 laps into the run, a few drivers starting to find a little bit of a different gear here for speed.
Trying to work as one is the 0-3. Making the moves, going on forward. It's good stuff to see for Clint Cox is trying to have a recovery run for himself. He's 13th in points entering tonight with 1 top 5, 2 top 10s. No 3 certainly is a lot underneath to watch out for. The newest driver to crack into the top 15 in points, Gavin Rogers. 1 top 5, 1 top 10. I mean, it has been a struggle bus for himself. It's trouble for a driver just outside of the top 10. It's the 57 of Thomas Walter, and he will wreck the back half of the field. He found himself with having trouble. Wow. I think his screen went dark. He tried to keep it in the outside wall, but then his wheel disconnected, shipped him to the inside, and away goes the back half of the field, and that is multiple drivers. Day's done. Put him in the hauler. It's game over.
Oh, that is heartbreaking for a few of these guys caught up in. Like Walter's saying over the chat, that's his wheel disconnected. He had no control of his car. He was, like you said, I think, like you said, maybe his screen went out at first. He's just trying to keep it in the wall, but that wheel, when it disconnected, it just turned back, and it pretty much took all the wheel he had out of it and bounced it back across the track here.
He's trying to keep it in the wall, and then the wheel disconnects now, right in front of the field. Worst case scenario. And there was just nothing the field could do. And what was worse about that, there was just no reports. Driver high, driver high. I don't think even if they knew a driver was on the outside, they had time to react with how quickly it just darts down low.
No, I think everybody there was probably looking up ahead, seeing the car, bouncing off the wall, kind of keeping it against the wall, and probably were assuming, hey, it's going to stay up there. We should be good. And at some point, you probably can't see from a lot of these cars because they're so stacked up on top of each other even. But, man, it is such a cataclysmic event there heading down into one. That is a major, major event. And like you said, there was no time to react for any of them.
There was nothing you could possibly do in that scenario. Just a hellacious wreck as everyone goes tumbling. Austin Halsey, the one that goes upside down in the 81. But here's Dalton Hayes' point of view. Yeah, a little bit of a checkup, a little bit of a whoa, but just you have no idea that's going to happen.
That is wild. Luckily this is a video game, because I think a hit at that speed for how slow that car was going, it would have been a very disastrous one for sure. So that's where we're thankful that we're on a sim. And I tell you who's liking this, Sam, is those guys who had to take the wave.
Yeah, it's going to help them to get back on the lead lap for some, and a couple of others. You haven't spent a little bit of time pit road to get that service done, because a couple of the guys that were trying to get the wave around if a caution came out involved with that wreck, so not even able to take the advantage of the caution coming out. But a couple will, that being Thomas Green, Danny Cochran, able to take the advantage to stay now get onto the lead lap. But still on pit road getting damage repair, going to be Stephen Clapp, Sawyer, Dallaire, Morales, as well as Thomas Walter, Pavlik. Going to be seeing Boucher. Austin Halsey already out of the race after he goes tumbling. And Dalton Hayes, as we're under our first caution flag of the day, and not the way nobody wanted to see it happen. But this will be your Premier Racing Setups first caution of the day. Looking for a winning edge on track, we'll head on over to Premier Racing Setups today. They're trying to help you out for the top tier dirt oval racing setups. Engineer for speed, consistency, and victory. Head on over to PremierRacingSetups.com. Remember to use the promo code Renner15. That's Renner with the number 15 at checkout for 15% off. The choose is done and over, and it's going to be Alan Elwood, Vincent Soar going to be your top runners. But Zach, I mean, how do you even set up for this restart after that type of a moment we just had?
Yeah, this is setting up interesting restart too, because it just shows you how valuable tires are. Nobody up here up in front, if you weren't involved with the incident or you weren't a driver that had a penalty, you weren't coming to pit road here to do anything. You were not giving up track position or putting tires on. So we're going to have a restart here with about 16 lap green tires on here. This is going to make very interesting fireworks, I think, here, because we're normally single filed out by this point of the run. Now we're all double stacked back up.
We're stacked up. Do you have any more grip underneath your tires? As they're going to be 2 by 2. We saw in the initial start, drivers willing to go 3 wide. Some almost went 4 wide. Let's see with old tires what they've got for the Pav Attack 225 here from Las Vegas. Green flag back out of the air. Good launch from the 9. Trying to get a little bit of help on the outside grooves. Vincent Sora from Stitz, but Stitz not a big enough push. And the 9 will hold his ground for the lead position, but Sora's fighting strong on the outer groove.
Yeah, on those older tires, he was able to fight a little harder down to the entries and to stay alongside as now they're both a little loose off of 2 side by side for the lead. Vincent Sora led the first lap of the race in this same position. Elwood took it back in 1 and 2, but now can Sora get to the clean air here because he's going to want it.
He wants the clean air bad, and he'll continue to stay side by side and across the line. 15 leads that lap, so at least a bonus point he could say that he has, and almost fully clear as they head down into turn number 1. Put a little bit of a squeeze on the 9 to force him to check up, but Sora continues to fight, gets the run, and that's exactly what he needs. Now fully clear, and now Vincent Sora in control. He led the most laps here back in season 1, 66 of 154, but ultimately lost that race. But this is where you can start things off as Chris Stitz on the outside groove. That 17 is rolling, and Zach, these are the tracks that Stitz really looked good back in season 1.
He really does love Las Vegas, man. He has had a knack for it, and look at the drive he's able to do through center 1 and 2. He goes around the 9 and powers through the center up to alongside the 15, and he's going to clear him here almost into 3.
Here's that advantage of deciding to wait, not be aggressive. You were hoping for the long run, and Stitz is utilizing every little bit of it, ripping the top, building the momentum, and now the lead for Chris Stitz in the 17. What a lap for himself. Across the line, gonna be a 31.866. Zach, that's almost a full second slower than his best time, but man, what a lap to have.
Look at this, Gavin Rogers. He's firing off strong too. He's got around Talmadge, and now the 9 goes back to the inside of Vincent Sora in the 15. This cooling down on the tires, and even a little stack up with Michael Miller there in the background. This cooling down though, FaZe Sam has really brought everyone back into the ballpark.
You're also seeing a couple of those drives. Michael Miller on back, that's 7th on back, that are starting to clog up with each other. Those old tires, new tires, a little bit of trouble, but it's Ali Fonseca, Zach, the one that took the gamble. Freshies for the 24, and he is ripping up to 14th and taking all these spots away. There is the difference on you having fresh tires to 18-lap-old tires.
Well, I tell you, he'll have the lead here in 5 laps. Unless he gets in trouble here, he's going to go around all these guys. But he's got to be careful on the newer tires. You can't just push the guys through the corner as Cedric Hunter. He's got to be feeling like he's getting shoved through that corner there. Luckily, he's able to hold on and navigate that thing. But, man, if that would have been the next-gen car, I think he would have gone around.
There was a big chance, what we call aero griefing, that we have seen on Thursday nights watching the 802 next-gen Elite Series drivers. You want to see that type of racing action, you can check out on Thursday nights. But Ali Fonseca still trying with the finest of margins to find a hole to go forward, and he'll take the chance, trying to go split the difference of Ali Fonseca, seeing the difference, and he just blasts on through. I mean, fresh tires are nice to have, but man, those gambled passes going 3 wide and almost taking out Presley Sora. Is it worth it as he goes down the apron? That's free game, and the 24 is rolling.
Yeah, it's the risk of, I hope you don't slide up when I'm going around your outside here at 10 mile an hour faster. So, yeah, this gets detrimental. He almost makes a little contact there with the 75 with the side draft, but he's going to go around these guys quickly. Now he's got to find how to navigate here. He's going to have to check up because there's nowhere to go. There's no hole. He's got to do a good job here just waiting on these guys. He'll get around them. He just cannot run through them.
I thought for a second he was going to force it 3 wide, but luckily does not. I'm shocked we haven't seen Ollie try to just go to the outside. Just bounce it out to the outside, utilize your tires. I mean, you've got the extra speed to work with, but obviously there is a zone that Ollie feels comfortable with, and that's just the 2 lines on the inside.
It does, yeah. He's taking the risk there for sure. He's going to drive a little deep there, maybe getting to the door of the 15 a little bit on entry. As, man, he is taking no prisoners. He was doing that before on the other tires. He took the advantage of that pit stop there to get fresh ones, and now he's going to be in position to drive up to this lead.
And Ollie Fonseca, driver who almost found himself getting penalized after some aggressive racing last week at Michigan, finds those penalties being removed, And the aggression here a week later is rewarded with the lead. The 24 of Ali Fonseca is there, and I know one person who's going to be happy in chat. That's Larry Hankins from Larry Arts Production. Happy to see one of his drivers leading the way with Larry's face on the hood. Lap led for the 24. If you want to check out more from Larry Arts Production, go check out Larry Arts Production on YouTube, TikTok, as well on Instagram. Plenty of fun content, from comedy skits to slow motion videos, to vlogs, to food reviews. Go check out Larry Arts Production. There's another Larry Arts Production driver, Danny Cochran. Zach, who is rolling for himself, trying to gain a few more spots for the 44 team that started this race off with a drive-through penalty.
Got a big hole to dig out of, and look, he's also got his teammate Thomas Green there right behind him from that Cochran Sora Racing team. And looks right now, so a little contact ahead of them there is Richard Wolsifer bound with the 45, Alex Fuller. They gather it back up, and right ahead of them, you got Clayton Montgomery and Cedric Hunter, who the 1 and the 7, I expected them to be top 10 cars here tonight. Right now, 29 laps into this, a little bit mired back.
I mean, this is showing that early aggression. No one was expecting that caution on laps 16 to 17 that kind of threw away that early aggression some of these drivers were setting up for to try to work off of and maybe defend. You can't defend when everyone else around you's protected their tires better and are willing to be slightly more aggressive here on this restart.
It is definitely showing here, Sam. This has been an interesting phase of the race as Fonseca, who's took that lead, has opened up to about 3 seconds of a gap. But back here, the battle has continued lap in and lap after as even Vince Sora now starting to put pressure on Chris Stitz there for the second spot, which would be that first position on old tires as these guys look and see those newer tires just running away.
It's just Ali Fonseca holding strong and pulling away up to 3.5 seconds is the lead currently for the 24 team. Again, the only driver who decided to use a set early on. They've got 4 sets in pit road to work with here this evening. So, I mean, you had a set that you could gamble away. I like the call from the 24. And based off of how fluky that caution that we had, that was Thomas Walter running 12th at time before his monitor went dark and his wheel disconnected, I think we would have gone green for quite a while as Ollie continues to pull away, but you're starting to see the loose conditions even for those that are in the draft. It is a handful as we hop on board with Thomas Green, the driver last season that won a championship at this exact track.
Thomas Green trying to dig out of that hole for sure still, and he is a driver that is known to be very, very good at this track. Like you said, he finished second here last season in the season finale after winning that championship, and he's normally very good when it comes to these cars getting loose. That's what I've noticed when there we go. But does it right on cue. But man, he's normally very good at driving the cars when it's like that. So I expect him to keep making his way up there. The biggest thing though is this field is competitive. From once you get into this top 30, really, you are fighting just, I mean, every single driver has the ability to fight for a top 10 at that point. So it becomes really a long game.
Yeah, our top 23 really close on pace and distance from one another. Seeing a major gap between our leader to second place. That's a tire difference of Ali Fonseca having a 18-lap advantage on his tires compared to the rest of the field. As you're watching everyone else, old tires yet to pit so far here tonight. But Zach, we are closing in on, if we were to see green flag pit stops for tire problems, we're probably about another 5 to 10 laps away from maybe seeing some drivers think about the first stops.
No doubt, yeah. I think you're right. If they're looking to make that different strategy work, then they're about into that range right now. I think you're going to see most of them try to stretch as close as they can to 50, especially because we got this caution now. Before I was thinking maybe you go to like 48, 47 to get a little undercut in this first run of the race. But now with those caution laps, I think you might want to stretch it a little farther now just because, you have those to buffer your zone, so to say.
Well, if you're just joining us right now, I mean, Las Vegas has not disappointed. Already a bizarre wreck happening back on lap 18 that took out a handful of drivers. Those drivers being the 22 of Ethan Delaire, Thomas Walter, Brian Boucher, as well as Austin Halsey and Dalton Hayes out of this race. leaving us with 37 out on track, but only 33 on the lead lap. Ali Fonseca, the only driver to take tires, and he is being rewarded with the lead. And it's now up to a 5-second gap that continues to grow. Other drivers that are inside of our top 10. Here's Michael Miller in the 99, teammate of Joshua Stovall, who runs in 4th, and right now both doing quite well running inside of the top 10. I feel like when you see Michael Miller or Stovall doing well, the other driver is just around the corner from the other.
That's for sure. And I tell you what, the 03, Clint Cox below the 99 there made a little contact off the exit and 4 with those two. He almost lost that race car. Ryan Kelly took advantage of it. He went 3 wide around all of them. He's up to 8th now. And now you're seeing the likes of these drivers start to make some passes as we get farther into this run. Some of these drivers are really losing the grip as they're wrecking farther back.
Trouble behind. Richard Wolsifer. Oh, a hard contact for the 56. We talk about bad spots to hit. Well, he might have hit one of the worst. That little opening on the back stretch, finding the tires. And the 56 goes around. Here's going to be what happens. Sawyer and Richard Wolsifer going to be around one another, but over the radio, Richard not the happiest with the 33, but we can see why. Yeah, it's because he found himself spinning off the nose of 33 after he got loose.
Yeah, I think he was going to spin either way. It's just 33 was kind of, unfortunately, I think Richard will probably want to take a look back at that one because he was done for. He was already lost that race car.
A little apologetic now after seeing the wreck. So now saying sorry for the 33s. There's nowhere for any of them really to go at that point, which, Zach, I mean, it was similar zone, 18 laps-ish in, and another driver having issues, but now it's much older tires, and no surprise, everyone heading into pit road, and Ali Fonseca is going to have to go use his second set of tires here, 38 laps in, or will he use a set? I mean, most likely he will. 20-lap-old tires, you want an extra set. You want you to take a set right now.
I think he'll take a set. I think with them having 5 sets total, and really from here, you would only need to make another 2 pit stops. He's got plenty left. This whole thing, thankfully, there's the ghosting action there for those guys coming out of pit road because how long this field is. These guys are catching up to each other there, but he should be able to come up pit road first. And the only thing he was concerned about is if we get a rash of yellows to make this race really a tire lottery, he'll be in trouble then. As man, that was a wild race off pit road too.
Couple of drivers phasing into one another. Luckily, we're on the virtual side of racing. We're able to do that as we are under our second Premier Racing Setups caution flag. Again, I want to say shout out to Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios for being our instant replay sponsor, as well as in-season tournament race sponsor, as the in-season tournament right around the corner. I think the admins are still deciding when they want to start that, but we are excited to see when these drivers get into bracket format. You're racing another driver. That's going to be fun to see later on in the season. But if you'd like to learn more about Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios and where you can get your own tattoos or get more information about them, head on over to Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios on Instagram for your one-stop shop for custom full-color tattoos, stickers, paints, and more. Go check out what they've got on Instagram. As the field making the choose, that white line, you gotta make sure you're on the inside or outside of it. Do not be over the white line when you cross the start finish, or you will be penalized either during the race or after the race is over. See a couple of late dashing moves to the inside or the outside. It's always fun to see how drivers decide. I know there's a couple of teams that have spotters or drivers that are watching out on who they think has the longest line, and it's always fun whenever drivers are like, I thought you said I had the advantage, when they accidentally lose a couple of spots that they thought they were going to be gaining.
Yeah, sometimes it's easy to miscount that as it's going quickly along there, but I love that image there, especially the start-finish line here at Las Vegas. You got the dice there. It's kind of a roll of a dice when you're picking your lane, so you never know which one's going to work the best. You go with what you think would be the best, but sometimes someone ahead of you has an issue, or it's just it doesn't work out for you. So let's see how these choices have went, but now Elwood back on the front row, but it's Fonseca leading the field.
Joshua Sawyer going to be getting the lucky dog, leaving us with just 3 drivers on a lap down. They're still racing in Morales, Pavlik, and Tanner Johnson. The rest of the field ready to get back to green flag racing. Those dice that Zach was talking about on the front stretch Ollie Fonseca, the first driver to really take a gamble. Let's see if he will be rewarded or will he be losing out to the house here tonight as we're back to grid play action for the Pathtac 225 from Las Vegas. Fonseca with a good launch, but Alan Elwood, he's on equal footing now. Let's see what the 975 the rest of the field has for this 24.
Let's see how these drivers take off. A little bit of a loose condition there for the 9. He had the 75 tucked up right behind him. Is now Rogers. He looks to the inside of Elwood, our pole setter. He wants to try to go fight the 24, but I think Elwood going to have the superior grip. As a little slide from the 75 there. He'll be under threat from the 77 now.
Everyone trying to utilize as much of the track as they can, but currently top 4 drivers in line. We've seen a little bit of side-by-side action back for 8th and 9th position. But Alan Elwood, do you want the lead now or do you want to protect your tires? There's a lot of options you can be grabbing so far. We've seen a caution every 18 laps or so. A little bit more was the last caution. So we got on board with the one machine of Clayton Montgomery back in 15th spot. I mean, back in 15th, it's still a logjam of drivers that are in front of this one before you can even think about the top 5 in front of them.
That's right, that's for sure. As now the battle is heating up front as Elwood has took it to the inside, and the 9 putting the pressure on the 24 now as this field side by side throughout majority of it. They're even side by side for the lead.
Side by side for the lead position. Alan Elwood going to be ducking down low, hoping this will be the better running position. But Ollie Fonseca, we saw that he prefers both inside lanes. That third groove, we haven't really seen if the 24 is willing to go up there to maximize the grip. As one driver through the grass is going to be Aaron Kralik in the 01. Go for a little bit of landscaping as he's still drifting his way around. Big save by the 01. Might have seen a little bit of a grass spot that he wanted to carve up, but luckily we continue to race on. But a big scare for the 01 that loses over 15 positions.
That was a huge scare for sure. As now look at this, the 45 of Fuller sends it up the inside of Presley Sora there. I'll take him up to 13th. Is right ahead of him. Larry Yingling putting the pressure on Chris Stitz, who at one point was leading this race, now back in 11th.
Presley Sora, as he's one of the drivers I think we expected a lot entering into this season. 2 top 10s so far. We'll see how well he can try to change things up moving forward. Larry Yingling in the 67. Zach, another driver we're expecting a lot. 1 top 5, 2 top 10s. But the consistency is still there for the driver that is just always fighting. But I think if you look at the top 5 in points, biggest surprise, it's this 25 of Cody Reed.
No doubt, yeah. I think Reed has been one of the drivers that's been very good at getting the finishes, but it doesn't like it's going his way. So we'll see what he can do here tonight into the top 15. He's got a good chance for a top 10 for sure. We'll see if he can make something out of it. But man, I got to give the top 2 credit. They've raced side by side for so long. Elwood has been trying to get the pass done, but Fonseca has been so strong on the outside. He's just held him off.
He's held them off, but there are 3 hungry drivers that would love to get a taste of victory lane. Gavin Rogers, Joshua Stovall, Clint Cox. I mean, if you talk about aggression, and the aggression level is always ramping up, you got Ollie Fonseca, Stovall, Clint Cox. Those are my top 3 drivers. If I see them in the middle of the field, they're going to go for big, bold moves, and they're inside of the top 5. You know this is going to be a great battle as Alan Elwood once again dives to the inside. But every time he hits the apex in that center point of the corner, that's when he loses out to Fonseca's better on the outer groove.
Yeah, Fonseca's really back in the corner up on the outside, trying to make sure he gets a good run, and that is killing off anything that I has been able to try to formulate. But we'll see what it does to the tires. I mean, he's definitely putting the pressure on. I looked at someone like a Vincent Sora back in 6th. He's kind of just lingering back there riding right now. So we'll see if that is a better case for a few of these drivers, or does the likes of Elwood, who's again going for a lead in 3 and 4, what will work better here, the track position or the saving of tires?
I mean, they got good runs, good information in those first 40 laps of testing. Okay, what are my tires like after I go aggressive in the first 18 laps? Then the final 20 laps before we had our second caution, maybe being a little bit conservative. How were these runs affecting the tires, and how does it influence future stints? And we're already seeing a difference by the 15 that does not want to fight for the lead position. Willing to settle, maintain, and if there's another caution that comes out in the middle of this stint, you might have the better tires to go fight for the lead position. So here's Presley Sora in the 9 machine, but the 00 of Ethan Smith back in 17th position, trying to make the pass on the 09 up to 16th place. And Ethan Smith, good run for himself. This is a track that Ethan also very good at in the past, but I was listening to him during practice, didn't feel like he could really figure out the true pace on how to run this track. He's hoping to learn and grow throughout tonight's race.
Definitely so, and he's done a good job. That was a great pass around the outside there of the 09, so good on Ethan Smith, but now it's going to be the likes of Joshua O'Byron there trying to go around the outside of the 09, and he'll do it. And now look at Aaron Kralik. He's recovered from the spin into the grass. He's going to go around the outside of President Sora. So Sora right now struggling as he's dropping back.
It's kind of bizarre to see a big struggle for himself. Also a big blink out for the 03 of Clint Cox that found himself being disconnected for over half the lap. Luckily reconnected back in and still held his position. Lucked out on that as Cedric Hunter, another driver who's trying to make a rebound run, but there's that 01 of Kralik, able to move forward up to 18th place. Good job for himself. Here's Ryan Bird, another driver who's just around the cutoff line, who has been having a pretty quietly good season. Only one top 10 so far, but a lot of his finishes have been just outside the top 10. That's what puts him entering 12th in points tonight.
Yeah, he's looking for something a little bigger maybe here for himself, but this league is so competitive, man. Anybody in this top 20 is just, clawing, just trying to get farther up. It is so different. Bird has been one of the most consistent drivers, especially over the course of different tracks. I think when we see some of these flat tracks especially, Bird is very good at the shorter flat tracks, so I think he'll be a factor.
Quietly moving forward are two drivers of Alex Fuller, and we're also going to see Ryan Kelly, two drivers that I feel like we don't really talk about boldly of their big moves that they make, but you've got Kelly, who's been a veteran of this series, one of the major favorites last season for the championship, but ultimately fell short, and Alex Fuller, a rookie, entering tonight, but both running similar of just will quietly move forward as they're also seeing the 67 of Larry Yingling in 8th place. It's 8th, 9th, and 10th that we're talking about currently.
And this is getting to an interesting phase. I was kind of watching a few of these drivers going, man, they're losing considerable amount of time from the previous run and just doing a little bit different things than they've done the first run of this race. Now, things do change, of course, the track. The daytime is starting to fade away. It's starting to cool this track down a little bit, so we'll change a good portion of that as we actually pull the track conditions up here. As you can see, it's that 89-degree air temperature with 111 track temp. As that goes on later into the day, you see it's 4:57 in sim time. You will start to see it drop down probably a little bit slightly. So we'll have to see if clouds affect that, but also the time of day will have that factor. But one thing I'm looking at, Sam, where the pit stops were there around the lap 39 when we came out of pit road, that kind of sets it up to where you can go 56 laps one run and then 55 another. You'll be able to one-stop this race to the end under green. So we'll see what happens. Maybe a few are looking for that fuel because, you got the fuel numbers of about 57 if you stretch it there. It's going to be close for a few.
It's going to be very close. But again, that's on if the drivers are willing to fuel save. And based off the fall off that we're seeing on their lap times, it might be a full field. Yes, we're pushing aggressively. Yes, we want these positions, but I think it's a full field all recognizing we got to protect our tires and save just maybe a little bit underneath us. Is Clint Cox now under pressure from Vincent Sora and Michael Miller as Rogers and Stovall for a glimpse of a moment. We're thinking about passing for second place, but not able to get that run on the inside, just showing the outside. That defensive lane is so important, but trouble is afoot, and it's further on back. Zachary Wake, Stephen Clapp get involved, bringing out this caution, and Zach, this kind of throws a wrench into some of these drivers' runs, especially Ali Fonseca in the 24.
That it does. This is where his decisions get a little bit harder. I think the others can make a very easy decision, but let's look back here and see what happens. There's a little race on the front straightaway. That was unfortunate. I think the 88 followed the 56 down, and I think the car, Zachary Wake, was already to the inside there with Clapp.
Got a little bit zoned in on the 56 rear bumper, trying to find a way to get around. Maybe trying to bump draft, almost clear, but not. And Zachary Wake getting the worst of it, as Wake was trying to go for a little bit of a pass on the inside, as Clapp thought he got the run to get by Richard Wolsifer. Wolsifer puts a pretty nasty block on the outside. They come back down, contact's made. And the way they go, this was battling back for 30th position. Not expecting to see those types of moves being made. But hey, some drivers feel like that track position is too worth it to give up, as that was a Orchiding Tattoo Studios replay, as drivers, some stay out, some hit pit road. Shockingly, Larry Yingling, one of those drivers, deciding to stay out. Alex Fuller, Ryan Kelly, this is a good gamble to see from some of these drivers, and Thunder Valley, one of those that are leading the charge.
Let's see what the strategy is. Is it fuel only, or do they take tires? So Elwood and Vincent Sora, they're our top 2 cars there from qualifying, both throwing on a set of Goodyear tires. And not surprised, I think this was the right call to make at this point, because right now this sets you up for an easy one stop to the end, and it makes it even like a one that you don't really have to worry about stretching it too far right here, because we're at lap 60, so it's not going to be too big an issue on tires.
But Zach, there's still a wall of drivers that didn't pit, that still have 3 sets in their back pocket to work with, being all the way from 19th up to our leader. Top 19 stay out. They do not pit. Alan Elwood, Stovall, also Gavin Rogers, Cox, Sora. You got some fast drivers that are going to have to figure out a way to get through this field. And the question is, how patient are they willing to be to get through this traffic?
That's very true. And we look at it so far. We can split this race up kind of into thirds, into 3 50-lap stints. Well, this first 50 laps really of this first third of the race has been kind of caution filled. After 20 laps, it seems like that happens to be a continuous condition of a spinner or a wreck. So if we continue to get that, the drivers that stayed out there and have only made 1 pit stop so far tonight, they're going to be at a big advantage, because they're going to start to be able to play that tire lottery. But I was surprised more didn't come down to the sets of tires we have available, but I think they are going on what the trend is so far of these yellows continuing to come out at that certain point.
Expect another caution come out, as we'll take a quick race report. Give you guys that are just joining in how this race has been so far. 60 laps have been ran so far, 3 cautions in total. We've had a couple of lead changes under green flag conditions. Majority of those lead changes, though, been with tire wear issues. Some drivers not utilizing their tire wear to the fullest, others losing out, but it's been a lot of green flag racing. We appreciate all those that are coming out to hang out for tonight's race. We also want to say thank you to some of the amazing sponsors. Blazing Fast TV for being our pole sitter and grid sponsor. If you want to go check out Dakota Moniz's point of view, you can check out his Twitch and YouTube at Blazing Fast TV today. We also want to say thank you to our halfway bonus sponsor, SimSam. Looking for fun content? Well, head on over to SimSam today on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch to see Samuel S. Garcia's point of view. As we're closing in on the SimSam halfway bonus point at the end of lap 75, whoever's leading at that moment gets 1 bonus point. Here we go. It's time for some racing action, and Alex Fuller, big wheel spin for himself, is going to check up the inside line, but Ollie Fonseca is rolling with Larry Yingling right behind.
This is going to be mayhem. We saw Fonseca come through the field on the fresh tires before. That was 1 car. Now we're going to have about 15 of them trying to barge their way through here on these guys that have older tires.
Who's willing to be patient? Who's willing to take it easy? They're going to be going 3 wide, 4 wide. Pick your lane and hope it's the right one. As you're seeing Alan Elwood as well as Stovall ripping the top and having a good run for themselves. Vincent Sora thinking about taking it 4 wide. Instead, he'll get in line and watch the 3 wide pass. Trying to find the lane that's moving. It looks to be the outer groove that is taking the charge. Go to the outside. Make your 1 to 2 passes. Then get back in the line. Wait for the next corner to make your moves. But right now, it's Alan Elwood in the 9 machine who is leading the charge, with Vincent Sora trying to follow in suit.
Yeah, and also Joshua Stovall done a great job too. He's second behind that 9, he's loose off the exit of 4. Luckily gathers it up as he was on the outside of a few cars. That could have been really bad, but I can tell you there's a few drivers just very nervous in this phase. This is when bad things can happen for a driver that just pit. You can just get caught up in something. Is all up front. They're almost racing 4 wide for the lead.
4 wide for the lead position. And now going to be squeezed to the outside. It's going to be the 13. Oh, no. There they go. They thought the madness was going to hit. They're still wrecking around. There's the 42, the 01. And honestly, it was either they're going to wreck in the middle of the pack or they were going to wreck up front, because it was a call sign that somewhere on track we were going to get that yellow.
That was intense, man. That was Ryan Kelly thought about giving us a 4-wide show there. I think he thought better of it, but yeah, we had the incident farther back, and the racing was just so intense there for a few moments as we try to pull this back up and see what happened. As you see the 0-1 of Aaron Krolick there, he's going to be right there in the middle, and you can see the 0-3 of Clayton Cox.
My goodness.
He just gets loosened. Oh, Rogers there, like you said, he was on that outside. He gets caught up. The 1 of Montgomery down there to 42 of Labertone. It's just mayhem here down the back straightaway, and that's what happens. A few of these guys who are people who pitted, Sam, and now they've got caught up in wreck.
And Aaron Krolick, I mean, the poor innocent victim, old tires, was getting swarmed. And then Clint Cox taking the 0-1 and the 75 for a ride to that outside wall. And just everyone piling in. The one gained a little bit of a lick of it on the outside. But it's the 42 of Mark Labertone who gets the required damage flag and is forced to pit road. Well, not 20 laps into a run like we've seen before. Only 5 laps, only about 2 to 3 laps of green flag racing, and already Alan Elwood up to 6th place. I mean, just showing the efficiency of ripping the top compared to kind of finessing your way on the inside groove that we saw from Ollie Fonseca compared to what the 9 was doing. I mean, Zach, if you had to pick and choose how you would like to utilize fresh tires compared to those around you, would you just take the top and make as many passes as quickly as possible, or kind of finesse your way on the inside?
You know, I'm normally the finesse guy. That's normally me. But I will say that top groove, it looked very, very good. And I think the biggest thing when you get up there is you have fresher tires. You have a lot more grip. You don't have to go up there and run qualifying laps against the wall. You just kind of need to run a good pace and a good, good center speed. And then it won't overwork the tires. Because I think that's my biggest concern. You go up there for 5-6 laps where you got to pass the whole field like that. Your tires are going to be very, very hot from running that top. So as long as you go up there and you're very, very smart about it, and pick and choose the battle of the tire wear, I think you can be very, very efficient with that top side, like we've seen from Elwood just flying up through there. But now we'll get another restart, and I tell you, the only driver that did pit from the group that didn't pit before there, it will be the likes of the 45 of Alex Fuller. So he pit from that top 5. He drops into about, I believe, going to be around the 22nd position. So we'll see how that works out for the 45.
Yeah, I mean, he's actually even deeper than that. He's in 30th currently.
Yeah,
he's got a lot of work, got a little bit of damage repair to work with here on this restart. As the choose is underway, we also want to give a thank you to our white flag sponsor of Team Watson Racing Setups. If you're looking for an open setup for yourself, well, don't look any further than Team Watson Racing Setups. They've got you covered. If you're looking for speed, or if you're looking for good vibes to just hang around with, check out Team Watson's Racing Setups.com. And if you use the promo code WATSPIN39, that's WATSPIN number 39, you get yourself 10% off at checkout. Thank you again to all of the amazing sponsors of Larry Arts Production, Blazing Fast TV, SimSam, Premier Racing Setups, Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios, and Team Watson Racing Setups. As we're about to get back to racing action, Ollie Fonseca, Jared Talmadge, Ryan Kelly, as well as Danny Cochran. Better be careful, as you got the fast driver, Alan Elwood, going to be on the outside groove for the 9 machine. Freshest of tires of those up front will be that 9, as well as back in 8th place, Vincent Sora and Joshua Stovall and Clint Cox. We'll see if Thomas Greenback also in the outside the top 15, if he can make a charge forward, but pace car is off. The Pav Attack 225 here from Las Vegas is back underway. Good launch on the outside again, and a big shimmy on the inside groove. That's going to be Talmadge with a big shake-up, as they're already going to be side by side for second position, but 3 wide further on back. Here we go, Zach. It's time for these guys to get rolling again.
Chris Stitz, not the best start on the bottom. That allows the 15 of Sora to jump to the middle there, and now he's quickly behind the 9 of Elwood, and that puts him back in the second spot with the new tires, as now they head to 3 and 4. Look at it fan out. It might close the door for the 9, because look at the 15. He's coming through with the fresh tires, and he may have picked the right lane.
Man, just like that, from back in 8th place to the lead position, Vincent Sora found the lane, picked right, and now he'll pull away. Alan Elwood still going to be working the outside groove, going to be through 4 wide, back there battling for fourth. They're 4 wide again. They're thinking about going 5, but they stay in line with just 3, and the fresh tires are giving us a show. Stovall, Clinton Cox once again at the force the issue. 3 wide is a 77 of the 03, and if you're on old tires, just hope you're in a lane that you don't get forced in the outside wall or down the apron, because these guys with fresh tires are not waiting for anyone. Alan Elwood is already past for the lead position.
Yeah, he has flown up there and drove around Vince Sora, who doesn't look like he was going to fight him too hard there. He wants to maybe save his tires like he did previously. But look no farther back, the 3 of Thomas Green. He's made a great restart. He was in 19th. He's up to 9th already.
And just like that, one of the drivers, same with Danny Cochran, to have a drive-through penalty to start this race off, but it could be over already. Huge save for the 3 machine. Somehow Ryan Kelly had enough space to back off, because that should have been a wreck. They continue to go forward. The fresh tires are still in the mix. Got to be careful if some of the other drivers will be making their charge forward. Alex Fuller back in 19th will be the next driver to watch out for, but now it's equal footing. All in 3 wide fight are on old tires. Now it's just who's got the guts to try to make the push forward to take the position away.
That it is, man. The tires are such a big difference that you see over these other drivers. They're just able to glide right through. Is looking there. Chris Stamper in the 10. He has found his way almost into the top 10. He is flying up through on fresher tires.
He's on one of the freshest of sets, is the 10 machine. And Stamper gets to the outer groove. Will he think about pressuring on and Zach? I mean, with the way these guys are racing, you just got a feeling another big one is looming around, as that will be seeing the 75. Gavin Rogers most likely send it to pit road and call it a night as the 10. And that yellow and black, he is still trying to go forward, but it just looks like he can't accelerate at the right time, and it is hurting him off exit, even though the center of the corner, the 10 is so much faster.
That he is. He's not being able to find the way around these guys. He's going to now slide up to the outside of the 17 Stitz here as they head into 3 and 4. Will he find the clean lane to go around? And I tell you, there's not a spot on this track that's not being utilized right now. There's drivers in 30th. Oh my God, he's wrecking.
Oh, into the outside wall. Multiple drivers into the grass. Green. They're all fading out. Somehow, no, there it is. Green flag turned to yellow. Caution is thrown. Cody Reed sliding across the circuit. But Stamper's day is done. Blown engine for the 10 machine.
Wow. This is wild stuff. I don't know exactly. Oh, yeah, the 10 kind of came up in front of the 45 here, I think, when we see on this replay. So just late exit the 45, getting to the outside of the 10, and he just sliding up there in that dirty air of the car behind him. So you'll see Reed does get caught up in this, but this is where it's at. You see the 10 of Stamper there in the middle of the black and yellow car. The yellow car on the outside of the 45 of Fuller. He is there. 10 slides up, and from there, there was so many people darting into the grass.
Blown engine for the 10. Cody Reed going for a slide and almost contact so many times. And he'll continue to race on. Stephen Klatt, though, require damage for the 88 team. Let's get a look at some of the more just chaos. A little bit too far for this one. Don't worry, we'll get to this action. But you can kind of sense these guys were sending it for everything. Fuller was on the freshest set of tires. Same for, I believe there were a couple of other guys that were making some big moves forward. Matthew Pavlik, one of those, as well as the one of Montgomery in the 48. But here's the chaos off of 4 as everyone just side by side. There's Pavlik with fresh tires, smoke, and just hold on. And there was nowhere for the 25 as he gets spun around, trying to come down.
Yeah, the 25 saw that smoke from the car. He's trying to get lower, and it was unfortunately a car already lower than him to the inside that spun him down as he turns across to him. So just a tough ordeal, but luckily for Reed, he doesn't really get too much damage out of it. It could have been a lot worse with how many cars were darting left and right there.
And with us on lap 75, Alan Elwood is currently leading. I can't pull into the pits and get passed by Vincent Sora, but currently for the 9 machine, he is in slot position to lead this lap and would be given your Sim Sam halfway bonus point. Again, it's once you cross the line at the halfway, we've had that discussion back in season 1 of, is it at the time of yellow? No, it is. Even if you're leading and you decide to head into pit road, give up leading officially that lap, you will not get that bonus point. So Elwood forced to stay out. Also doesn't want to think about using a set of tires at this halfway bonus time, but Zach, we're now going to have another swing of fresh tires versus old as everyone from 13th on back gets some freshies as Elwood officially now will take your SimSam halfway bonus point.
Now, the benefit that they felt, as drivers on fresh tires, they're going to feel the wrath of it now here because you got the likes of Jared Talmadge, Ryan Kelly, Danny Cochran. They're going to be really, I think, charging their way through. The interesting case for me, Sam, is Fonseca. He's still not willing to use another set, so he's trying to keep the sets for as long as possible. As you see everybody coming through the choose here before we come to the restart, but Fonseca in 7th, only on 36 lap old tires. How will he manage this?
I don't think he will manage it. He's just, he's a sitting duck. There is nothing for the 24 he can really do. It's just hope that maybe these cars get slowed down, but this is going to be a tough one. 24, all you're hoping for is that you're not the car that gets ran over, as a couple of drivers officially leaving the race. Stephen Clapp, as he was involved with that last caution, he's out of this thing. Stamper's out of this race. Still in pit road is Mark Labertone. Also out of the server is Tanner Johnson, Ethan Delaire, Thomas Walter, Ryan Boucher, as well as Austin Halsey and Dalton Hayes that are all officially out. On the lead lap is still our top 31 drivers in Zach, 31st place. Aaron Kralik, who's had all of his woes, been caught up in wrecks. The 01 is still in the fight. We'll see how well he can move forward, as he was a part of the drivers that just left pit road on this caution. Well, hopefully everyone that's watching, that's just the first half. You've seen the drama. You've seen the flair. It's time for another batch of it, as Alan Elwood, Vincent Sora, Stovall, and everyone inside of our top 11 better hold on tight. Those fresh tires behind you are ready to roll as green flag for the Pav Attack 225 is back underway.
Great start for Vincent Sora on the bottom, man. He's been on a time those starts so well. He might be able to take the lead here down into 1 and 2, but it's going to be Elwood getting back to the quarter panel late on exit. He's going to fight back to the outside, and look at this. He'll have that nose ahead as they head to 3.
They're already 3, 4. Some are thinking 5 wide, and you better be careful, as they're 3 wide, 4 wide. Hold your horses. You don't want to be this direction. Heading into turn number 4, they're squeezing, they're door tapping, and somehow we're still green as the fresh tires are trying to make their march forward. Ryan Kelly going to be the first one who's going to be on the inside, 33, getting by Ollie Fonseca, Mike Miller. Then everyone else is using the wall, using the white line, every portion of the track utilized and also sent to the apron. Going to be seeing Nolan Hicks, who won this race last season. He's now down to the apron.
Oh, Cedric Hunter, he's losing it. He gathered it back up. I think he got contact from, the likes of Danny Cochran in the 44. Yeah, 44 got him, and now he's losing a ton of spots.
The 7's now going to just hold his breath as... will there be a caution still looming, as they're still 3 wide all around the circuit, trying to take as much of an advantage currently. Ryan Kelly still the lead driver on fresh tires. He's up to 6th place for the 13, as Alex Fuller thinking about dashing to the inside with that bearing move. Thinks better of it, as Ollie Fonseca playing a little bit of pick on the outside groove. That's going to stop Ben's advancement and force him 4 wide for a quick second. As the 33 goes forward, you have 3 wide, you're 4 wide. There's not a lot of space to work with as they head down in turn number 1. Now that's some great racing from Fuller and Yingling that held their footing. And what a drive by that 45 and 67.
That's a great job by them, because I tell you what they don't get in iRacing, folks, is what we call a 4 wide call. They do not have that installed into the spotter pack, and I tell you that can be a detriment to sometimes, but those drivers were well aware of it, and they gave plenty of room.
Plenty of room, and they held their footing. Alan Elwood, Vincent Sora, they're right back to their duel of being side by side for most of the race for the lead position. But they better be careful. Ryan Kelly, as well as Chris Stitz, Talmadge, about to make a mix up front for their chances to go for the lead position. And Zach, we have not talked about Jared Talmadge at all, a driver who is very successful at Las Vegas, probably one of his best 1.5-mile tracks. At 27 will be a threat by the end of this night, as he's currently 3 wide, trying to move into 6th position.
Jared's put himself in a really good spot by staying out that last, few restarts, and now having fresher tires than his competition ahead. He goes to the inside of Cox and the 17 of Stitz, and gets also the 77 of Stovall, put him in the top 5.
Put him in the top 5, but Ryan Kelly trying to take the lead position. currently runs in third. He bounces to the outside group. Talmadge trying to follow in suit. 3 wide for the lead position, and Ryan Kelly taking the top spot, but almost taking a glimpse of the outside wall as the 13 is through. Now it's Talmadge's chance to follow through the mix, but he gets put into the outside wall for a quick second. The box out from the 9, but Talmadge, don't give up. He knows he's got the better tires, but a little bit of a wobble almost finds himself going around.
A little contact between him and Sora there. I think Talmadge just wanted to get to the middle there between the 9 and the 15, but got a little bit of a looseness condition, got into the 15 there. That really hurt Sora as he's lost a ton of spots. As now, look at Cochran in the 44. He's firing up here too.
But yeah, Danny Cochran, part of a batch of drivers that had a drive-through penalty to start this race off. And the 44 is marching forward with the 17. They're currently 4th and 5th, trying to get by. Alan Elwood is one of the lone drivers that is on 25-lap old tires compared to the rest of the field that are on some freshies. A little bit of argumentative moments further on back as drivers are not happy with some of the 3-wide, 4-wide moves that have been made so far here tonight. Zach, I mean, for these drivers, this is truly a tire lottery race. Pure gambling is happening here at Las Vegas on which caution is the right caution to take those tires.
Yeah, that is what's kind of made these 4-wide, 5-wide moments that we've seen, is just because of that lottery, so to say, of just different strategies, different varying speeds. You catch someone, you got to go for it. And that is one thing sim racing has always dealt with, is you don't really have that fear of crashing, so you'll go for those 4-wide, 5-wide moves, where I feel like in the the real life racing, you're going to be a little more timid. Is yellow flags out,
trouble. And it's going to be a big one for a few, and that's Nolan Hicks, Alex Fuller. Big damage for the both of them as they were fighting side by side, and Nolan Hicks glimpses the apron, and a hellacious wreck for the 86 and the 44 that are both going to be out of this one.
Yeah, this is interesting. He definitely clips the apron down here when we come to see this, as he gets to the inside of Fuller here in the 86. Goes up the inside, but I almost feel like he thought he was going to clear here, so he just kind of darts right, just decides I'm going to go up, and unfortunately the 45's there, and you can see, I mean, it is both cars destroyed with that hit.
Fuller, that was trying his best, his engine fully expires once he hits the backstretch. But let's take a look at those hands of the 86. Nolan Hicks, winner of Las Vegas last season to finish off the season. Hicks had 2 spectacular finishes last season that got him into victory lane. Not going to be the case here for season 3. The 86 gets low, gets the inside quarter panel. And I think with hearing the little bit of a graze of touching the wall might have also given the thought of I could be clear. That little bit of shimmy, though, to the right was enough to call it a night.
Definitely got a little bit free from the apron, but definitely didn't get enough correction in there to get that fixed, so that unfortunately brings him up the track. And man, heavy hit for both of them, but now the strategy galore here once again is pit road is going to be, I think, somewhat busy, but actually not as busy as I thought for a few.
I mean, it's still quite busy. It's just the field's shrinking, so the stuff don't seem as crazy of seeing 20 drivers going into the pits. Instead, it's going to be just a mere look of about 12 that now will be heading into pit road. Again, appreciate everyone coming out to say hello. If this is your first time watching us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we appreciate it. We call 2 races throughout the week here on Monday nights for the Trinity Racing League, and as well on Thursday nights of the 802 Next Gen Elite Series. Can't wait for the Next Gen Elite Series continue on as they continue on the short track stints of who can win out on the short tracks. Here tonight, though, for the Trinity Racing League, we can bring up the race report. There's been a few cautions that have come out. It's been almost every 20 laps a caution flag would come out, but of recent, it's been about every 5 to 10. A lot of drivers getting into, you take fresh tires, you make a lot of big moves, which has been helpful for some to get to the lead position. But that means every caution, you never know who's moving forward, and if you stay out, you're going backwards at some point during the run. But it certainly has been a wild one. I mean, Zach, I'm shocked on the fact of the amount of cautions we've had, but talking to the drivers, they're not as shocked. They thought we were going to be getting on the range of 7 to 9 cautions here tonight, and we're at pace to maybe surpass that here this evening.
I think we could, man. It's going to be a split strategy from the rest of the way we go, especially if the yellows continue at this trend of about 15-20 laps. You're going to see a lot of different people doing a lot of different things, and some people have backed themselves to a wall. I look at people like Vincent Sora, who's just come down. This is his 3rd stop for a set of tires tonight, so that is going to be only 1 set left in pit road, and really from here at lap 89 to the end of this race, I don't see you making it on fuel. So you're going to have to make 1 more stop here tonight. So you better utilize that last set wisely. If you pit too early, you get a caution late in this race, some people are going to have an extra set, and you will be a sitting duck.
You don't want to find yourself being in too much trouble, as the title sponsor of Larry Arts Production throughout the week looks over the races, picks some of his favorite drivers to watch out for, and he's got his Larry Hankins picks of the week. If it was liking the looks of Vincent Sora and Jarrett Talmadge, he was expecting Ollie to win the halfway bonus. Didn't work out. Expecting the first caution lap 15. Almost hit that one. We'll see how well some of those other picks line up for himself. Will it be Vinny? Could it be Jarrett Talmadge? Or is it someone else out there on track? If your Path Attack 225 is back underway. Again, drivers of note to watch out for: Vincent Sora, Thomas Green, and everyone from about 18th on back just took fresh tires. Let's see how well they can climb through this field as they exit out of 2.
We see some drivers starting to stick their nose 3 wide, make big moves as they know tires are everything here. They want to be able to charge up through and utilize them quickly here, but Kelly done a good job to get to that lead. Now, farther behind them, it is a mess because look at Vincent Sora up to 9th. It's 4 wide, almost 5 wide off of 4.
They are attacking for every position, and right now it is the battle for around 17th place. They are 3 wide, 4 wide, battling for those spots. Vincent Sora is climbing quickly inside of the top 10 to try to get to that lead position. You can see Ollie Fonseca, one of the biggest movers throughout tonight, on a willingness to fight forward. Cedric Hunter on his recovery run to try to gain some of the spots back after his big slide and save that he had on that last run about 20 laps ago. But they are still 3 wide. Take your opportunity. You got fresh tires. Might as well utilize them to the fullest, as they are everywhere on track. But it's Ryan Kelly still leading the way up front.
Really doing a good job, and this is definitely the melee, so to say. Is now looking at Fonseca. He's on a fresh set of tires that he's utilizing for the first time. He is loving the field right now as he's got Stovall right there on the inside of him is Fonseca. And look at the new tires, but we blowing by on the inside.
Inside, outside, 3 wide for a quick moment in time, but they're going to go back to 2 wide as Stovall in that 77. Hoping to get a little bit of extra speed here this evening. But the one that is speeding forward, Vincent Sora, about to take the lead spot here in just about a corner as the 15 able to move up into 2nd position. The next closest driver on fresh tires actually going to be Thomas Green back in 7th place. Zach, the 15 is doing everything right now. Every spot he picks is the right one moving forward.
That he is. The 15 has done a good job, and it's been clean. He's really not had to do anything crazy to make it happen, and that is what's going to allow him to get to the lead now, be able to open up somewhat of a gap here. So let's see how far can the 15 get out, because right now he's got freshies.
Vincent Sora entering into this season, he won the season 1 championship, stepped away from season 2, came back here for season 3 to try to grab his 2nd championship. It has been an awful season. Just one good race for himself, and that was mired all the way back at Bristol. Besides that race, he's finished last. He's DNF'd. He's disconnected. It's been a horrendous season that places Vincent Sora back in the late 20s in points. He's 28th in points entering tonight. He needs a win, another one, if he wants a chance to even make it the chase for the rest of the season.
He really does. I talked to him before tonight, and he said tonight is the night if it's going to happen. So he's going to need some help. I think he's put himself in a little bit of an interesting position. His strategy is old Cochran in the 27 of Jarrett Talmadge coming to blows. Those two, not the most love lost between them. We saw Coda, how they raced each other when he was lapping the 44. These two not on the greatest of terms.
They are absolutely not. And the 27, once again, trying to bounce it to the outside. They are on similar set of tires, is the 44 and the 27, but they better watch out. They're on the old set of tires as Thomas Green has now ripped his way into the lead position. Ollie Fonseca, Stovall, Miller, they're not going to wait for your squabble to be done. They're going to force the middle, force an opening, and there goes Fonseca. Now it's Stovall's turn to get through the middle and try to get by, but now the ping pong back and forth. You better be careful. Don't want to make too much contact. As the center point of the corner, that's where the freshies show their speed. Stovall is gone, and now it's Miller's turn on the outside.
Loose there for the 27, but yeah, that's fresh tires for the 77, and that 24 firing on through there. They say there's not a three wide spot. We're going to make it 3 wide either way. So look at this up front, too. Thomas Green, Vince Sora battling for the lead. And this is going to be interesting. Thomas Green, first time tonight on even footing, really, with Vince Sora. We'll get to see what he's got, truly.
Thomas Green, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s this season for the 3 machine. It has kind of been still searching for his first win this season, but man, it has been a season of, we know last season's champion is going to get into victory lane. The question is, when will it start to just chain momentum? He is quite a momentum driver. When you see Thomas Green get 1 win, there's a couple more that are right around the corner to continue rattling off with. The 3 machine didn't start grabbing his first couple of wins until right before the chase last season when he made his dominant run for the championship. I mean, if you're Thomas Green, getting a win here may not be the most important thing as he's 9th in points. I want to wait for that momentum to click off later on in the season.
Definitely want that. And look at this, the 03. Clint Cox there, he came into the picture, but now the 99, Michael Miller also, he's got up there, he's climbing through. But look, again, side by side for that lead. So it has done a great job as these 4 here are starting to break away, and Fonseca, he might come into the battle too with them now racing side by side.
Our top 6 drivers are on fresh tires. Gavin Rogers going to be put another lap down for the 75. He's currently 6 laps down, the first driver lap down. So if a caution comes out and he's not involved, we get one of those 6 laps taken away with a wave around. But you got to give credit for the rest of the field. I mean, they continue to try to race on with the major tire difference. They put on a show on these restarts, and seeing a couple of more drivers trying to march their way forward as the 1 machine of Clayton Montgomery. He's got the fresher tires, but Zach, this one is not one of those that's really been willing to push the issue and envelope going forward, as right on board with Martin Morales, who also one of those that had a drive-through penalty to start the race off. He's on the better set of tires on this stint, and he's trying to find a way to take some of these spots away, but the 91 just not looking as confident even with the better set of tires.
He's going to have to take his pick and choose, because ahead of him wow, they almost wrecked right ahead of him. So that was crazy. The 75 of Rogers there, way off the pace. Of course, his car's hurt, but these guys were racing about 3-4 wide when they caught him, and that almost got really bad.
Luckily, they found the spacing, and we continue to race on. Cody Reed up to 10th place, trying to find his way going forward. This is just one of those times and moments in a race where you're hoping that it is maybe can go clean and green to the end, but if it does go, clean and green all the way to the end, Zach, from here on out, I don't think anyone's expecting that. I don't know if anyone can make it on fuel unless they go into a massive fuel saving run. This puts the whole entire field in an awkward spot if this race goes green.
Yeah, I do not see fuel being a ability. I just really think that fuel is kind of out the window for these guys to make it to the end. I think you're going to see them have to pit. The biggest thing is the drivers that most of them that have took their, second to last set, if they pit too early here in this sequence, it puts them in a tricky spot as old 01 all over the back bumper of the 25. If you're those leaders that have already pitted, you're going to kind of really hope that we get a caution here in about maybe 20 laps or so, because you do not want to see this thing stretch out too far.
The joys of watching the O'Reilly's car compared to the next gen. You can watch these drivers really aero pack someone's rear end off the exit of the corner in these O'Reilly cars. The next gen's not able to really do that, as we see on Thursday nights here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. This is, with watching 2 different cars and how they react on these tracks, Zach, it kind of throws me off at times of, are we expecting to see someone get loose off the exit of the corner with seeing another driver run up onto their rear end as quickly as we saw the 1 onto the 25, but not the case here tonight, as our top 4 really have broken away from the rest of the field. Everyone else is kind of in their cool down phase, just waiting for something to happen. Will a wreck bring us to where we take our final potential final pit stop of the night? Or are we going to stay clean and green? Right now, it's Vincent Sora finally able to take the lead back over Thomas Green as Ali Fonseca, Clint Cox try to run them down.
Yeah, I kind of look back to around 7th here. Ryan Kelly going to be the first driver on the old set of tires. So 31 laps on their stint. Now, we're going to have a few yellow flag laps in there involved. So, I can see him going about another 20, 25 laps easily. The question is, when will they decide to pit? Because, again, it's just a lot of question of the timing of how you do it. If you get a caution while you pit here too early, you're going to be maybe trapped a lap down or just be in a position not to be able to take tires and have to take the wave.
You got Matthew Pavlik, Chris Stitz having a little bit of a run. But this has been racing action where we continue to wait and see. Will we keep it clean and green, or will a caution flag come out? Because Zach, whenever we do see clean and green racing, this is around the time that we see that caution flag come out. Can they hold on out right now at this moment? It's going to be the true question, as Clint Cox has blinked out once again, and into pit road is Danny Cochran.
That is aggressive from Danny Cochran. That is very, very early here. He's pretty much going for the thing to stay green here, and oh, he slipped way through his pit box, so that's a huge loss of time for him, and he's going to pull back forward. That is a big loss, but like you said, this is the point of the run where we've seen each and every time we've gotten a yellow flag. So let's see, will these drivers be able to make it work out better here? It's a little bit more spread out because of the different strategies, but I will say there's still plenty of racing going on out there. As you can see, the battle for seconds heating up, but even that battle for 10th, it's always been hot too.
It is certainly heating up all around as we're closing in on these final laps. Who can find their footing here late? As we are going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, it is the final dash. Where will the drivers be placed? As Fonseca goes for the pass on Thomas Green, not going to be the case for himself. But you've been watching the PAV Attack 225 here from Las Vegas. It's been a caution-filled event. We'll see. Can we make it to the end here in just after this? And the wait is no more. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Trinity Racing League as green flag pit stops are underway. Presley Sora, Cody Reed going to be making their service, about to be leaving pit road. Matthew Pavlik as well, now making his stop, and a lot more over the radio are saying they are heading to pit road. No one is expecting that we're going to have another caution. They're hoping that this will go green to the very end. And Zach, this is a gamble of, are you willing to go a lap down, and especially for those that have already used 3 of their 4 sets in pit road, this is your final set that a lot of these guys are putting on.
Yeah, and Vince Sora, our leader, and Ali Fonseca, our top 2. They come to pit road, but Fonseca, big mistake for him. He slides into his box sideways. Luckily, he gets it all gathered somehow where they'll do the pit stop here, and he'll get to go away, but he's definitely lost some good time.
Trying to get rolling once again. Ali Fonseca trying to have one of his better finishes of the season. He's been so fast as he now moves back up to the right side of the course. Now this will give the lead to the 77 of Joshua Stovall, who's been lurking in the top 5 for majority of the night. I mean, this 77, Zach, I mean, we always talk about the aggression. It's one of his key factors of his racing style. But man, here tonight, there's a chance, if the cards line up, it could be the 77's calling for victory lane.
It very well could be. He's done a good job to get around Thomas Green, and we'll see when do they decide to pit. I think you'll want to stretch it longer here, in my opinion, because I'm telling you, that yellow flag comes up. These guys will be on their last set of tires here. If they pit, you don't want to be in that position to where you have no sets of tires left in pit road, and this race gets a yellow flag. You're going to feel very, very in a vulnerable spot.
Of those that have already made their pit stops here tonight, Clint Cox leads the way currently. He is on the lead lap. Vincent Sora is 7 seconds behind him, still 1 lap down, as Michael Miller is getting his service done, as well as seeing a few others. Chris Stitz now heading into pit road. Stovall's giving up the lead, heading into pit road. That's going to give the lead position to the 3 of Thomas Green. Also going to be seeing Montgomery stay out, and Kelly and many more decide that they will stay out for a little bit longer on this run. But as the laps tick away, the opportunities of a win start to shimmer of where do these drivers fit in this run. Because, Zach, I'm looking at a few of these drivers that could take a gamble, as we're expecting Ryan Kelly, Talmadge, Garcia, a lot of guys from 3rd all the way back to 7th. You have to skip over Cedric Hunter, where we find Ethan Smith, Thornock. They're on over 47 laps on this set of tires and fuel, while you got Green, Montgomery, Cedric Hunter. Is there a chance that maybe they could try to find a way to save just a little bit of extra? As I say that, though, a couple of drivers thinking about making the call into pit road.
I think a lot of these guys are looking to stretch it farther, and if anything, catch a yellow here. And again, you know, they're in a position where if they pit late here, yeah, they'll have a little bit fresher tires than the guys who've already pitted, but they're also going to have an extra set of pit road tires sitting at pit road if we get a yellow flag. So I think they just have a little bit more leeway, a little bit more availability to strategy, and they're hoping it works out for them.
Hoping that it will work out overall, as Joshua Stovall going to be back in 23rd position. Cat out in chat, happy birthday to the 77. Stovall's been having a great day for himself. The question is, can everything line up through this green flag pit stop? Because there's still over 14 drivers that need to make their final stops of the day. We're closing in on 25 laps to go, and it's Thomas Green, Montgomery, Kelly, Talmadge, and Samuel S. Garcia that lead the charge at this moment. But Zach, you look at those that are up front, I mean, they're pretty spaced out. There's a couple of drivers battling for 6th place that are close, but it's when those faster drivers that are on the newer tires that close into these types of packs, that's when people get a little bit more nervous of a chance of a caution.
That's for sure. And I tell you, the strategy is very interesting for a lot of these guys. Look at the difference of speed here, the 30, the 49. They have to stack up as a 17. They do a great job there. Great job from Pavlik, great job from Bird, great job from Stitz. That could have been a disaster, yellow flag. They still got to navigate it, though, so far.
And Yingling will hold in the middle. That's going to allow Stitz to rip the top. Bird's going to follow in suit. Pavlik's got a little bit more of a narrow split the difference moment. Is contacting with the 7 machine. And Pavlik continues to be stuck behind the wall of Yingling and Hunter. And the 30 He tries to go 3 wide again, and Hunter holds his ground to the inside, and finally, the 30 machine is able to get through.
Big slide for all those guys, though, and that was them very much worried that would have brought a yellow out. But personally, for them, it wouldn't have been the worst case scenario because of how long they stretched it here. It would have really hurt the others who've already pitted. But now Montgomery in the one, he comes to pit road. I think you're going to see the likes of Talmadge, Kelly, some of these other guys have to pit here in a lap, the 2 to 3 laps.
Clay Montgomery getting his service done and now leaving pit road. And with these guys that are pitting later, Zach, I know the track's a little bit loose. It feels a little bit off. Do you maybe think about going with a 2-tire stop if you're one of these guys that are waiting long to try to cut the difference?
I think with this car, I think you don't. I think you stick to your guns of 4 tires. Just makes the balance that much nicer in these things. You throw 2 on them, it's just such a handful. And it's actually less of a gain in time than what you would see in the next gen era. So with it being the 5 lug nuts, so I think 4 tires is the way to go. We've seen before 2 tires could be a little unruly.
As the field continues to have bizarre moments happen all throughout tonight. If you're just joining us, well, you missed the chaotic one. It's Ryan Kelly into the outside wall. A 13 yet to pit. He's been out there for 54 laps on this set of tires. Same for Jared Talmadge in 3rd and Garcia in 4th. They're waiting for their time to be called to head to pit road as Joshua Kanata makes his way to make potentially his final stop of the night. Samuel S. Garcia has made the call. He's going to be making a stop here as Cedric Hunter and a couple of others have to get around. As there's the 50 Sim Sam machine getting his service done. But Zach, I mean, this race continues on. They continue to wait. Now going to be coming up to 20 laps to go. And that caution that some of these other drivers were banking on, they're not showing their hand just yet that a caution is heading their way.
That's for sure. Right now it's looking to be clean. So we'll see what happens with the 50 on pit road against Garcia. I tell you, with some of the lap times I'm seeing from some of these guys on the older tires, they're starting to hit a little bit of a cliff and fall off into a really unknown territory. Worried about maybe these tires starting to fall away to where they won't be able to make it, or make the tires last.
I mean, there was a worry of tires. They were seeing some drivers that were doing 25 laps to 27 lap runs, just full bore aggression over practice, and they were seeing the tire wear drop by 40%. There was a chance where tires could become an issue of them blowing up if you were not protecting at all during a run, as the 9 machine of Alan Elwood able to drive on through. That's going to be Evan Elwood just hoping to get back onto the lead lap. We're going to see Aaron Kralik here in the 03 of also going to see Clint Cox, Ali Fonseca, all having their battles back and forth for 10th, 11th, and 12th as Aaron Kralik on 44 lap old tires and heavily damaged is getting passed. But the driver that is leading everyone who's already made a stop, that's Vincent Sora by over 3 seconds to Ali Fonseca.
He's done a really good job. He's got through everything clean. Doesn't seem like he's pushed the car too hard. I watched him a few times. He got really patient and gave up a little time in that portion. But right now, he's much quicker than Fonseca, who right now is having to try to run him down. It's just that 15, very, very quick. So he's able to stretch that gap. But the one thing I'm starting to think about here, Sam, is we get farther into this. Kelly here, 58 laps. Same for a lot of these other guys. There's almost sort of a big moment there for him in the 15, actually. But a lot of these guys here are stretching the fuel a little bit farther than we thought. We did have a few caution laps, but the longer they go, the more I think maybe Cedric Hunter might have played it right here, even though he was one of the drivers really caught out in this last restart. He might have been saving fuel from the start. His lap times look strong.
Blown tire for Ryan Kelly, though. The 13 can no longer stretch it. Pit road is calling as he's got to go to pit road on this lap. 33.7 second lap time for himself. Another driver who's close on that lap time, Jared Talmadge, the 27. Could he be finding a tire going low or force the pit road because of fuel? I'm watching out for the 27 machine, Zach. I don't see how Talmadge can stretch it any further as he's been out there for 60 laps now.
Him and Ethan Smith right now in a boat of their own. Same for, it looks like, Yingling actually just pit there, right?
Yeah, he just hit pit road. His tire expired as he entered in. So he's got to get service done. as he was already aiming there. Now another one goes away. That's Jarrett Talmadge as he enters into turn number 3. He's forced now to head to pit road. That's a 60-lap run. Next driver to watch out for is Ethan Smith. He's forced to pit road and to head there now. It leaves us with the drivers that pitted under the last caution. That's Thomas Green, Cedric Hunter, as well as Martin G. Morales. How long can they stay out for with these final 15 laps?
This is going to be the big question for sure for everybody to see Elwood blow by our leader here, Thomas Green, who is right now 33.26 for him. Cedric Hunter behind 31.14. Vincent Soar in third, though, 32.24. So he's about a second faster here right now. Technically, if he stays that much faster, which it will decrease in my opinion in time, but if he stays this much faster, he could technically run Thomas Green down here before this race is over. It's just going to be, can the tires last, and will they have the fuel for the 3 and the 7?
You got to be quick. You got to set fast times to equal out the distance, but your tires have to stay underneath you. And with the 30 and the 33 having their side-by-side moment here, Pavlik struggling to get by. Is he able to do so? As trying to get back onto the lead lap is the goal of the 30 machine, but Vincent Sora is all eyes. 11 seconds away from Thomas Green. Based off the run-ins that you were talking about, if it's a second a lap, he will catch up to Thomas Green. But if it defers, if he falls off, and if Thomas Green can somehow save the fuel, it could be in the hands of this 3 machine. I don't see how Cedric Hunter could win this thing. But Thomas has built the gap where he can back off the pace just slightly, but he also needs the 15 to fall off just a little bit quicker.
I think from what we've seen so far, 60 laps is the most anybody's done, or 61 laps is the most anybody's done. Ethan Smith and both Jarrett Talmadge did that, but Talmadge blew a tire on that lap. Smith did not, so that makes me think Smith may have been in the realm of running out of fuel too in that range. So this is going to be close. They're going to need to go upwards of 62 laps, 63 laps on this stint, and they're not going to have a yellow flag to help their tire work.
This is just pure fuel-saving skill. Do you have a wand? Do you have a magic horseshoe? Do you have some golden dice? Do you have any lucky charm left underneath your seat to try to find the way to save the fuel is the goal of the 3 machine right now, because Cedric Hunter's been caught. Vincent Sora's making that pass now, but coming up to 10 to go. The fuel, it's going to have to be a miracle for the 3.
That will be an old man Cedric Hunter. Big moment for him. He got way up the racetrack into the wall. Now Sora, he makes the pass for second, and now the 7 dropping back here. Tires fading. Can they have the fuel? Do they have the Goodyear tires? This is going to be wild to watch to the end. Another driver, like you said, too, is trying that. Martin G. Morales, he's back in 7th. He is right now running a 33.61, so his tires starting to drop into that range, Sam, of where we've seen they blow.
Zachary Wake only able to stretch it out 52 laps now. He was dealing with damage, so he was just getting a little bit overuse of the tires with the way that he had to drive around the track, but he was only able to go 52 laps for a blown tire. So for Thomas Green, that still is a little bit of a worry, as Cedric Hunter is now back to 3rd place. Ali Fonseca going to be the next driver to try to run down and catch up to. But Thomas Green, being in the mixture of traffic, this is not a fun place to be sitting if you're the leader, because you don't know if the drivers behind you are going to attempt to make the pass or if they're just going to sit there and linger. But look at the wheelmanship by the 3. Every lap, he is fighting to stay alive, but he won't. The tires are gone. Blown tire for the 3. He has to go to the pits.
That he does, and now we'll see, can he navigate it back around right here, because he drives it in deep into 1 and 2. I do not know how that car just stuck for him right there in the center of the corner, but he is still somehow up to decent speed, but he's going to be bringing it to pit road here. He has to.
Forced to pit road. The tires were the issues. It wasn't even the fuel. Only 55 laps for Thomas Green. Cedric Hunter, the next one to try to stay out as long as possible. Will he wave the white flag as Vincent Sora? Yes, he will take the lead, but Zach, the one thing he doesn't want is a caution, and we got 6 laps to see. Is the lucky 7 there for the 15?
Yeah, I don't want to jinx it for the kid, because, man, he has had a tough season so far. He's just got caught up in a lot of things. Had speed. We always know what Vincent Sora can do, a past champion, but he has just not had the luck on his side. This time he's looking to have it, and it is going to be a long 6 laps here for him to the end of this race.
Vincent Sora is just hoping to see the white flag as it's now 6 laps to go. For 5 laps, you are hoping that no yellow flag will be thrown. There's a couple of battles happening for position. Behind is Stovall versus Ali Fonseca. That's about a 10th off of one another that are battling. You also have Morales just getting passed by Cody Reed. Reed having a chance of a top 7 finish if he's able to get by Cedric Hunter. If Hunter can't make it to the end of this race. As you can see, the 3 of Thomas Green trying to unlap himself as those 3 drivers who is outside are battling for position. Let's go for a quick 3-wide for a moment as Ali Fonseca as well as Stovall get by Cedric Hunter.
Fonseca, key moment for him there, but Stovall, he wants to get this P2 spot. He's got about 3 lap fresher tires. He waited a little longer, and it's come back to help him. He's on the back bumper of the 24. Doesn't have the time to run down that leader, of course, but this is what he's got his sights set on for sure.
A great run overall from Stovall and Ali Fonseca. I mean, you got to give credit for Ali. Started this race off back in 35th position. Carved his way through on that first stint, got the right cautions. That first caution came out at lap 18, took the gamble to take tires that set him up to finish out. Cedric Hunter, though, will not finish out this race in the top 5. His tire just expired. He's forced to pit road, but a good opportunity for himself. Mark Morales still out there, though. That 91 is trying something magical for himself with being so far off the pace. He's currently being passed for 10th position. Might be moved back into 10th with Hunter heading into pit road in these final 3 laps. But Zach, it's been a weird race overall for a lot of these guys. But Vincent Sora, just 2 more laps to go before the white flag.
And it looks like Cedric Hunter, he's continuing on. I don't know if he might hope that it doesn't disqualify him. It may just be enough for him if he can get across the line, but will the fuel be there also?
I mean, if he has this required damage flag, even if he finds himself crossing the line, he'll get a black flag at the end of it. So it might be well, if I get a black flag, I'll be put at the end of whatever position I'm in, which would be on the lead lap, hypothetically, if he's got the fuel to make it that far, which if you're on the lead lap would put him back in 26th instead of being back a 1 lap down in 28th to 29th position.
Definitely would get him a few spots, for sure. So he'll try to limp it to the end here, but Vincent Sora, he just wants to see this white flag here, Sam.
And for Vincent Sora, exit out of turn number 4. What a drive it has been so far, as it will be your Team Watson Racing setup. White flag. We talked about how there were 2 drivers so far this season that had 2 wins. Well, for Sora, there's no one else that's even close to him on track, and he wants to be joining the mix. Only 3 drivers have won this season. And Vincent Sora, congratulations. You've got your 2nd win, tying the most wins so far this season, and getting his season 1 redemption of victory at Las Vegas.
What a job for the kid there. Fonseca holds off Stovall for 2nd, and those top 3 there, much needed for them. And then you'll have Cody Reed there across the line. He'll be 8th, but we'll see. Yeah, Cedric Hunter is going to drop him down here now as he's come to pit road actually on this lap.
On this lap, we'll see how that's going to be tagged by iRacing. Currently he holds position on 13th. We'll see, again, how iRacing wants to deem that one, if he loses any spots or not. But we know one thing, and that is Vincent Sora taking the victory. Ali Fonseca 2nd and 3rd going to Joshua Stovall. Congratulations to the top 3. We will be talking to those 3 drivers for the post-race show. But Zach, I mean, I know for Vincent Sora, he needed this badly. It's either been a win or a big wreck for himself. Kind of a glass cannon, you could say. And this helps him out immensely for the chance to fight to make it into the chase.
That it really does, man. He fought for this one tonight. He took a risk, took a gamble. The gamble pays off, and he's in victory lane. And this is going to be a big points jump for him. We'll just have to see how much it is next week.
Well, no change in position for the 7, so his go into the pit strategy actually works out for himself in 13th. And for Mar Morales, he stayed out, no tire blown. The fuel was there. Morales will take 14th, the top 15 for the both of them on their wild different strategy. But for Sora, the victory is a calling. Well, for us, we're going to step away. When we come back, we will talk to our top 3, do a breakdown of today's race, and get you ready for next week at Richmond. We'll be back right after this for the post-race show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting for the post-race show of the Trinity Racing League. Season 3, Race 6 is in the books, and your Pav Attack 225 from Las Vegas winner is Vincent Sora. And Vinny certainly had a lot of moments here tonight, having to carve through the field multiple times, but at the end, he was the one that was willing to take the pit stop for himself. Vinny, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. How are you feeling after this performance at Las Vegas?
Oh, man, I am just so happy right now. This is one of my best wins in a long time. My luck has been horrible this season, guys, to the point where I was like, man, I don't even know if it's worth it to keep going and racing anymore. Like, I wasn't even having fun just showing up and getting wrecked. But I'm 2 for 2 on the races that I've got to finish this season. And I'm just super thankful. I got lucky tonight, man. I think I had a really good long run car. It would have been fun to have battled Alan on one of those long runs. I got him on the first one that we had, and I felt good. I was like, this is what I need. I didn't need to just check out, but it turned into a tire lottery, and I gambled there, man, and I was expecting it to not pay off for me, but it did. Thankfully, finally, I got a tire lottery to go my way. So I was just praying for a yellow to not come out there. My car felt really good. And yeah, I got one, man. I'm just so happy. I finally finished the race.
Definitely happy to see it done, buddy. I was glad to pick you here tonight. You put my pick right. But, looking at that strategy call there, that was a huge risk. You talk about the gamble. Take us through the decision made there for that final set of tires on that green flag stop. That's got to be a huge decision when you want to pit there because that's the final one.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that I was going to have a really big gap to the guys who weren't on my strategy, so I just had to be smart on when I timed pitting with the guys who were behind me. And I started to pull like a 2.5-second gap on Thomas and Ollie, and I felt good. It was getting to be around like lap 120, and that was kind of my number because I knew that some of those guys who were on the older tires had probably already come down. So I knew if I pit then, I was for sure going to get them, and I just wanted to have enough of a buffer to the guys behind me that I didn't have to worry about them the whole run. And I think I got Ollie to come down with me. And yeah, I conserved my tires there. In the event that we'd get a yellow, it wouldn't have mattered because the tire difference was so much tonight. The 110 horsepower made this race a lot of fun. The car was a beast to drive. And the tires were just falling off like crazy. So yeah, I mean, I got lucky there. I think I definitely worked my tail off, and I deserved the win. But I just gambled and it went my way.
You certainly did. One of the fastest cars out there, Vinny. Congratulations on the win again. But this race, like you said, the tire difference was so massive. So many restarts where half the field had old tires, half the field had new ones. What was that like being on both sides of the coin? Having to watch in your mirror those fast guys, and then also you trying to blast through the field as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, man. These restarts like that. I'm just trying to pick the right line, and I did a really good job tonight. I got lucky on a few restarts, just some holes open up in front of me, and I was able to shoot through them. But you had to pick them and time your moves right because on one of them I was going down in the corner, and I was like, I'm just gonna kind of roll it here, try not to get in any wrecks. And the tires have fallen off so much for those guys who are on the older ones that you still move up rows just by rolling the corner. It's crazy. It's really fun. It's frustrating as a guy who loves to go on long runs to have so many of those yellows mid-race and have it turn into a tire lottery, but it is a lot of fun for us drivers to work our way up through the field, and then it's kind of interesting to see how it cycles out afterwards. So really fun night tonight. Just thankful I got to finish one. And yeah, I'm going to celebrate this one for sure.
Well, it was a fun one for the drivers. It was a fun one for us to observe. And before we let you go, Vinny, the floor is yours for any other shout outs.
Yeah, definitely you guys at Freaky Fast. I can't wait to go watch this broadcast back. I haven't had many to watch this season because I've been so frustrated afterwards. So looking forward to this one. Shout out to my teammates at CSR. We all had some really fast cars tonight. I know strategy didn't go everybody's way there at the end. Shout out to the admins. I know Josh has been kind of getting swarmed with DMs and stuff over the last week, but they do a nice job over here. So yeah, shout out to everybody that makes this possible.
Well, Vinny, it's been a pleasure to watch you race and happy to see you finish one and be in victory lane. Hope you enjoy this one and good luck next week at Richmond.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Well, that will be the 15 of Vincent Sora taking the victory here at the Pav Attack 225. The glass cannon, you could say, of the season. 2 races finished and 2 wins. The rest have been tough ones. But we move on over to second place to the driver, I think, who can take a second place and basically call it a win. Ollie Fonseca. Ollie, you're the biggest mover, 33 positions up from where you qualified here tonight. Man, it was fun watching you carve through the field there on that initial tire pick that you took all the way back at lap 18. But man, you had a lot of decisions throughout this race to finish in second. How are you feeling coming away with second at the end of the night?
Yeah, man. I mean, first of all, it's nice to finally be up in the booth with y'all again. It's been a while, but I don't know. I'm happy with the P2. I really needed it. And all things considered, it was probably one of the best results you could hope for. But I'm always just a little bitter with myself, just thinking about the things I could have done differently, some certain decision making on my part, and just being a little bit better, finding that little bit more to give Vinny something, just watching him pull away from me there at the end, man. Just sucks. But, yeah, all things considered, I really shouldn't be complaining about a P2 after tonight.
Definitely, it was a great run, Ollie, man. You were really out there making a bunch of big moves. Take us through the decision early to take tires, because that really played a pivotal role. I mean, you had to kind of pay the price for it later, but, man, you really drove up through the field and took control of that.
Yeah, after I kind of bimmed it in qualifying, which I don't normally do, I didn't even really get tight or loose. I just kind of wasn't paying attention and just barely tail tapped the wall off 2 there and killed my qualifying lap. So started in the back, drove up through there, and me and Brandon were kind of just thinking, every single one of these races, we always got a set of tires left. We're always on the wrong side of the strategy for whatever reason. And, especially being Vegas, right? So we decided to, take tires, thinking after we just drove through the field there, we kind of cooked them. So we might as well. So we did, and drove back up through again. And then the caution came out at probably the worst possible time. And we were just kind of behind the ball all night from that point on until, I want to say right before that last caution, we were considering pitting in there, and then Brandon made a late call there to have me stay out. And, so I went from the front all the way to the back again on those really old tires, but it ended up working out perfectly and making up for our early decision there. So we slapped some stickers on it and drove back up through the field again. I don't know how many times I drove up through the field tonight. But yeah, I got back up there and was in a position to, go for it, and that's really all I can ask for. So big props to Brandon there, having his head on a swivel and understanding the situation, just making the right calls, man.
I mean, you did a great job carving through the field. Like you said, multiple times you had to get it done. We certainly are getting into a fun aspect of the season. We got Richmond, Chicagoland, and the Milwaukee Mile being the next ones. I know it's a couple of short track-ish circuits we're heading towards before Chicagoland. What is it like having the mixed bag of tracks we have in front of us on top of, Chicagoland right in the middle of that Chicagoland and Milwaukee Mile?
Yeah, I've always been more of a short track guy. And actually, I think Richmond and Chicago are two tracks that I've won at the few times I've won in this series. So I'm excited to go to those places. Richmond's always been good to me. Chicagoland, aside from this place, is probably my favorite mile and a half. So I'm pretty confident about this little stretch. I think I should be pretty solid here. So we'll just see what happens. Keep practicing, keep on learning from my mistakes, and just getting better.
Well, I know you've got a bunch of fans out in chat that are happy to see you get a top 3, and we're proud of you as well, getting second place here tonight. Ollie, before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout-outs.
I got to thank, first and foremost, my family. It's been a while since I've been able to thank them in the booth like this. So thanks, Mom, my grandparents, my Aunt Donna, Uncle Larry. Half the reason I do this is just because I know they're watching. It makes me happy to, give them something to expect and enjoy on Monday nights. And, I do it for myself too, but it just warms my heart to be able to do it for them. I got to thank Brandon. He just, every single week, man, every week. That's why we always stuck together for so long. He just always does what I need him to do when I need him to do it. He's always on top of his game, and he does it for me. So I'll always appreciate Brandon. Thanks to Larry for being the best sponsor I could ask for. It's a huge deal to have the title sponsor, and just do what I can to show his face on the hood every week. So thank you, Larry. Go check out his content. He does some awesome, funny videos. And thanks to you guys for putting the broadcast on. I'm so excited to have Freaky Fast back.
Well, thank you for giving us such a show to call. That will be your second place finisher here tonight of Ollie Fonseca. Ollie, enjoy this one, and we'll see you next week at Richmond.
Thank you.
As we move away from talking to Ollie Fonseca in second place, we head down to third place to talk to the 77 of Joshua Stovall, qualified in the top 10 and basically was in the top 5 for most of this evening. And also in chat had Kat giving him a happy birthday shout out. Josh, a great run for yourself here tonight, third place. How are you feeling after a turbulent season it's been to get this type of a run?
Yeah, it feels good, man. 29 today, so that's fun. And then coming here, and we were actually able to get off work at a decent time today to get some real practice in. I think that paid off in the long run. It's been a while since I've been able to talk to you guys, but no, I'm P3 tonight. I feel good. It was a great race overall.
Definitely was a great race, man. I tell you what, Josh, congrats on this P3. But man, the strategy was all over the place with all the different cautions and the kind of timing of them. Take us through your strategy here tonight, because you seem to be on the right side of it.
Dude, I mean, I was nervous because one caution comes out at the end of that race, and I think me, Vincent, and Ollie, and I think even my teammate Mikey, we're all screwed. That was our last set of tires right there. A lot of guys ended up pitting really late, running long. So I knew that if we had a caution towards the end, we were going to be done. So I was hoping and praying that we wouldn't get anything right there, and it ended up paying off. So that's good.
It certainly did pay off. You're exiting out of tonight 6th in points with your first top 5, 3 top 10 so far this season. We've got ourselves Richmond, Chicagoland, and the Milwaukee Mile coming up. How are you going to try to translate this momentum you have, try to get even better finishes moving forward?
Well, I feel like we started the season off really good, and then I think we went to Coda, which is obviously not my forte. I just like to turn left. We don't have to do all the left and right stuff, but had a bad race there. Went on, had a bad race at Bristol. Kind of bounced back a little bit at Michigan. It was a pretty rocky race. Got caught up in a lot of things, but I think the momentum tonight carrying forward. I love Richmond. Chicagoland's a great racetrack, and it's really racing. Then you got the Milwaukee Mile, which I don't know if I've ever been there. I think I've raced there maybe once or twice before, but that's it. So yeah, we're gonna have to put some work in there.
Well, we're excited to see how you perform in those future races, Josh. But third place here tonight, congratulations on that, and good luck moving forward. But before we officially let you go, the floor's now yours for any other shout outs.
Yeah, shout out to the teammate Mikey's sitting here getting a, I believe he got a 4th place finish, if I'm not wrong, and hopefully we can get that 88 back up here and running good. He's been caught up in a lot of stuff this season. But then shout out to the wife. You know, she's sitting in the living room watching it on the big screen. So I'm gonna go celebrate the rest of the night with her. 29 again. And then, you know, just thank my sponsors, you know, Fast Track Mowing Steel, Kawasaki, Co-Cadet, you know. I got my own business I started this season, and we've just been grinding all year. So we're the Brown crew Monday through Friday, and then we're out there mowing fast and eating grass Saturday and Sunday. So I appreciate it, boys.
Well, thank you for giving us such a great show to call. That will be the 77 machine of Joshua Stovall taking 3rd here tonight. Good luck next week at Richmond, Josh, and also happy birthday.
I appreciate it, man. Y'all have a good night.
You too. Well, that will finish up our interviews here this evening. It was a fun one of chaos for the first 3 quarters of the race. And we finished it off with a good green flag run at the very end. Drivers losing tires, but ultimately at the end of the day, it was find the right time to take tires. And it was Vincent Sora, Ali Fonseca that took the gamble early and succeeded well throughout the run. As we take a look at our unofficial results of the Pav Attack 225 here from Las Vegas, it's going to be Vincent Sora taking the win with Ali Fonseca in 2nd, Joshua Stovall 3rd. Stovall's teammate Michael Miller will be finding himself in 4th with Clayton Montgomery 5th. See also Clint Cox, a lot of disconnects for the 03. Thought he was out of this race for a moment, but was able to take an early pit stop that allows him to take 6th at the end of the day. Cody Reed, a good finish for the 25 in 7th. Chris Stitz in 8th. Presley Sora as well gets a good run. So the Sora brothers both going to get top 10s here this evening. And Alan Elwood, I think a big what if for the 9 machine that was just as fast as everyone else. Probably could have competed with Vinny there at the end, but just the timing of pit stops, a lot of the missed strategies didn't work out. But Zach, you could say that about a lot of drivers here tonight, is just missing the strategy call.
Yeah, strategy was the name of the night here for sure to how this race played out. And as you look through the rest of the order, got to give a huge shout there. Martin Morales in 14th, Trevor Benz 42nd to 15th for him, Matthew Pavlik there in 16th, and Sam Garcia also there in 17th. So good run for those guys. Jarrett Talmadge, unfortunately, had to come down. Same for Danny Cochran there in 18th and 19th. Same for Ryan Kelly in 20th. And same for the 21st there for Thomas Green. A lot of these guys just on the wrong strategy as you go farther down. And then you get to start to see some of the drivers that were involved in some of the incidences. You look at some of them, like the incident that happened with Gavin Rogers there. He finishes 30th. Richard Wolster's back in 31st. And then I kind of look back at the 39th of Thomas Walters' will disconnect. That was such a abrasive moment that took out a lot of people. That was so unfortunate for everybody, and it really had an effect early.
It certainly did, taking out a lot of drivers there at the end. But 42 drivers entered, but only 1 exits with the victory, and that is Vincent Sora in the 15. A lot of penalties entering tonight. We'll see how many penalties are given after. I know the admins had a long week, and it might be a long one here this week as well. But it has been a pleasure to give you the call here on Monday nights as the Trinity Racing League. Next race on the docket is going to be Richmond Raceway. Zach, that's going to be one, Richmond, a bizarre one. It's a track where you never know. It really matters on how the car's driving, on what type of a race you're going to be finding yourself with.
I'd have to agree. Yeah, Richmond can be a tricky one, and especially with these Xfinity cars, man. It's going to be low grip. Be sure to see what time of day it'll be. I haven't checked into that info yet, but that will have a huge effect, of course. And also Richmond, as the years gone on here on iRacing, I feel like it's really spread out when it comes to the lanes. I think we could have some really good short track racing, and the first real, I would say, flat short track we get of the season.
Should be a fun one you do not want to miss on next week's race. But I know for us, we've got more racing action as the 802 series races on Thursday nights. I know that's going to be a fun one that a lot of these drivers, if you're a viewer that has been watching the Next Gen series, they are finishing up a 3-race short track stint at New Hampshire this upcoming Thursday. We hope to see you out there, as that is going to be a tough one. We've seen drivers struggle at the flat tracks. The 802 might be a long one for us on Thursdays. But for tonight, we also want to say thank you to the sponsors of the Trinity Racing League for Season 3. We want to say thank you to Larry Arts Production, Blazing Fast TV, SimSam, Premier Racing Setups, Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios, and finally, Team Watson Racing Setups. we appreciate all of those that have come together to partner up for season 3. But Zach, before we officially call it a night, any final thoughts before we get out of here from Las Vegas?
Well, first off, shout to Vincent Sora. Did me right by getting my pick right tonight, so we'll always take those. Good one for him, because I think he's going to be an important piece to see how this chase all works out. You know, he's really in a big hole he's got to dig out of. We know how good he can be. I think he can make some interesting things on that cut line as we go through the rest of the season. But also, just shout to all the drivers week in and week out, putting on a show. 4 or 5 wide moments we had here tonight. I mean, countless times these drivers were putting it all out there on the line.
I certainly were giving it their all here this evening, and that's what Las Vegas can give you, is some great racing action. We hope to see more great racing action heading into next week at Richmond. But for tonight, we appreciate everyone that was watching with us live and those that are rewatching. But from us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, for myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall and Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else that helps out in the background, we appreciate you watching with us here on your Monday nights. It has been a pleasure to come back and give the call to the Trinity Racing League. I know the drivers are appreciative of it, and I hope the fans as well are happy to have us back giving the call for the Trinity Racing League. We cannot wait to see what next week has for us, but congratulations to Vincent Sora. 2 races finished, 2 wins. Can he make it more consistent? That's going to be the key moving forward as the field finds themselves heading to Richmond next week. More short track racing action should be a good one, but if you can't wait until then, don't you worry. We got a mile in distance, but certainly going to be short track fields. Thursday night, the 802 Next Gen Elite Series heads to New Hampshire. We hope to see you then, because that will be our next Freaky Fast broadcast.
I was standing, staying still, never said what I feel, and every time I took the blame, carried all this quiet shame, 'cause all the pressure in my chest, I've gotta fight to catch my breath, when every step still feels the same, trying not to break. Where do I go from here? Maybe I'll disappear. If I don't try, I'll never know. I'm waiting on you. Where do I go from here? There will be no more tears. Kill the doubt, feed the fire, hear the voice inside. It's my turn this time. They took a shot, now I want mine. You fall, I rise, I take the wheel. So this is how it feels. Where do I go from here?